Hello, church. It's so good to be here on a Monday. And yes, your ever-loving blue-eyed ogre is going to be graced with the omnipotent presence of the first deified human tonight. And that is the mighty Mr. of Akkad, as the Britisher would say. Sargon of Akkad, yeah, he'll be here. Unless he's dead or forgot about me, which both of those things could be possible. Because we never know. We're only just one slip and fall away from death. So that said, listen, I'm going to read this thing, but I've got something opened here, and I can hear myself talking. Yeah, I don't know what I've done here, brother, but somehow or another, I'm listening to myself, and I shouldn't be. Oh, I found it. How's that for blowing the entrance? All right, Zero, cool. Thanks for just hanging out here. Every day when I start this broadcast, I have the gag open so that I can see they're coming in and I can try to actually do what I'm doing here and see what people are saying and respond to those that are serious. And of course, Zero, every mother effing day, I forget to turn the sound off. So as I was talking, I could hear myself saying what I just said like 10 seconds earlier. So to fix it this time, I actually had to go out of the out the room. But here I am, and I'm going to try to be a little serious right now because Zero joined us today to talk about some stuff that I'm going to let him bring up in a second. But I also have a request. And yeah, because I just split like I did, I've got to pull this back up, pull up the documents, and go to right here for Conscious Caracal. And then I'm going to read this. This is from Arthur Conan Doyle. And for those of you that do not know, Arthur Conan Doyle was a writer who was very famous for doing Sherlock Holmes. I knew you'd know that, Zero Cool. And he also, his wife was a soothsayer, tried to be. The great, boy, I'm having a serious brain fart right now. Wow, I really am. A great escape artist that got famous for making people watch a curtain for an hour. Houdini, of course. He busted Arthur Conan Doyle's wife a couple times because they have a seance on Houdini's birthday every year, and people think that he believed in the occult and that he believed in summoning spirits, but that's not the case. After his mother died, he offered $10,000, which in that day was equivalent to probably $1 million, maybe more. I don't know. It was a lot of money to anybody that could show proof of contacting the dead. And he dedicated his life outside of, how he made his money to trying to contact his mother. And he busted Arthur Conan Doyle's wife a couple times. And then Arthur himself came to Houdini and said, Houdini, you have to know of the occult and spirituality because there's no way you can get out of that milk can when they toss it off the Brooklyn Bridge. And of course, Houdini responded by saying, I built the milk can. So anyway, that said, even like I often like to mention, a stop clock is right twice a day. Not saying that Mr. Doyle was a stop clock, but this is a wonderful quote. And without any further gilding of the lily, this is from Arthur Conan Doyle speaking of the Boers. Take a community of Dutchmen of the type of those who defended themselves for 50 years against all the powers of Spain at a time when Spain was the greatest power in the world. Intermixed them with a strain of those inflexible French Huguenots who gave up home and fortune and left their country forever at a time of the revolution of the Edict of Nantes. The product must obviously be one of the most rugged, virile, unconquerable races ever seen upon earth. Take this formidable people and train them for 7 generations in constant warfare against savage men and ferocious beasts and circumstances under which no weakling could survive. Place them so that they acquire exceptional skill with weapons and in horsemanship. Give them a country which is eminently suited to the tactics of huntsman, the marksman, and the rider. Then finally, put a finer temper upon their military qualities by a dour, fatalistic Old Testament religion and an errant and consuming patriotism. Combine all these qualities and all these impulses in one individual, and you have the modern Boer, the most formidable antagonist who ever crossed the path of Imperial Britain. Our military history has largely consisted in our conflicts with France, but Napoleon and all his veterans have never treated us so roughly as these hard-bitten farmers with their ancient theology and their inconveniently modern rifles. Look at the map of South Africa, and there, in the very center of the British possessions, like a stone in a peach, lies the great stretch of the two republics, a mighty domain for so small a people. How did they end up there? Who are these Teutonic folks who have burrowed so deeply into Africa? It is the twice told tale, and yet it must be told once again if this story is to have even the most superficial of introductions. No one can know or appreciate the Boer who does not know his past, for he is what his past has made him. And that's just a little thing. I'm sorry I stumbled there, Caracal. So I did tell him that if I stumbled on this at all, I would do a recording on my free software, Audacity, and I will make sure that it doesn't have a stumble for him to use however he'd like. And you know what, sir, if you'd like to even use this and take an excerpt of it, of course, that's cool. So I want to go as, I don't know, are you ready, Zero? Do you want to speak about anything, either this or something else?
Well, first, thanks for having me here. Secondly, I don't really have much on that topic. I think just basically it's like anything else. If we're getting to the point where skin tone is really making a difference about every little thing, especially here in America, and I cannot speak for Africa as a whole nation, whether it be the eastern, western, northern, or southern tip of things, we're really backtracking. You know, we're supposed to have, I remember growing up in the 1980s watching Lethal Weapon, and it said, "End apartheid." And I asked my dad, what does that mean? He goes, it's basically separation of the races, between black and white, and for Africa to, basically be one as America is on a certain level. My dad being a factory worker, most people would think that most people would say, oh, you work at a factory, you're kind of on the lower bar of intelligence, but there's a reason he worked in the factory. That was for temperament and to have a steady job, especially when you can make money back then. But my father was not a stupid person or an ignorant man by any means. He was born in the early 40s and lived through the 50s and 60s and the 70s and everything. So by the time I saw that movie, he basically was able to say to me with a very large amount of confidence, it's a train of thought that people have that continually derails the progress of man from truly coming together and succeeding on a whole. And I asked my mom, what the hell was he talking about? She goes, well, this is why certain things happen and people are continually separated by class, color, and size, and it's a bunch of crap because in the long run, we all have to answer to the one inevitable thing in life, which is death. And I go, wow. I mean, just like, shit, that's a lot for a 13-year-old to, pick up on. But that's very much the point is we are regressing on a whole, humanity-wise. And it's like, why? How did we get here? What's the point? Is it all political? And I'm not asking if it is. I'm just it's just up in the air there. But I think Africa, a nation as a whole, has different problems with so-called race relations than America does, because they really hadn't regressed or progressed as much as America has on a certain level. And so it may just be like throwing a rock into a river and watching the ripples go, and this is kind of an after effect of apartheid. And of course, I could be wrong and I could be totally off the subject, but it just seems that that's the way people are these days. Now, when it comes to animals, especially big boars, we're all dinner. That's it. So I apologize for that little tangent, but you really was asking me what was on top of my head there.
No. I love
where it went.
Zero, that's why you're here, brother, because you and listen, I got to make one remark about what you said. It is funny that I've found in life the wise men that I've met didn't come from academia or the clergy or from some kind of business owner that was worth millions of dollars and was an alderman on the town council. The wise men I've met were your average factory worker, your line tech, your construction worker, your carpenter, or your plumber. They are the ones that have, in generally, they have to be intelligent to do their job, even though some people wouldn't think. And then they have this intelligence that's focused on something that they've learned and they know. Now they have all this time to think about the news and life and the mysteries of the universe. So I've actually found men like your father, whom I don't know, I must say to the audience, but to be the most intelligent people that there is. So it's just, I find it striking and funny to me, because where I live up here in the Mitten, there are many, 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 many factories. There's probably about at least, this is off the top of my head, so if my facts are wrong, somebody check me or tell me I'm dumb, whatever. But there's at least, I would say, 60% of the folks around here that work at factories. And they are the salt of the earth, man. Who in the world would get up every day and go pull an 8-hour doing the exact, I mean, these are the men and women that make the cogs grind. That said, listen, I want to talk about this France thing. And we have some of our regulars here that know it's Conspiracy Monday. So I look at it like this too, before you jump off on this, Zero. This is part of the conspiracy. Where's this fomentation coming from? As you start to talk about, I don't even want to say the words you use because they were so cool and well thought out. But as we talk about this thing that's going on in France, could it be possible, just keep this in the back of your head as you take us off on this, that this is part of the vast conspiracy to bring this kind of fomentation about and to cause problems so that someone can come and say, hey, I'm the savior? And if not, just what's going on in France today, Zero?
Okay, so let me start out by saying I do not talk about the NWO or any of that kind of shit, because I figure if that's going to happen, it's going to happen, and we're either going to arm and rebel or we're all going to submit, and that's for another day. So in regards to France, as I was telling you prior to the beginning of the transmission, I was talking to my cousin in France, and we're just basically making note that the folks over there in France, I love them. You know, I've got relatives over there, and I've got relatives all over the world. They're acting more immature than I've ever seen anybody in America act, short of Antifa. And I'm going to read something from the telegraph.co.uk news, which reads, anti-fascist protesters clash with Paris police in riot after Marine Le Pen French presidential success. Now, I've read this whole thing, and this is basically saying that, look, you guys, breaking it down to the simplistic of terms, that these guys are overreacting. For as much as I would love Le Pen to win, she may not win. She went through the first round draft, basically, and the demonstrators, who are these people saying we want progress, we want, equality, liberty, and peace, and all this, they're basically acting like the people did when Trump got elected. They're basically acting the way that Antifa does. And while they're doing that, they're making asses of themselves. The police are basically, caving their heads in. They can get away with it. They can do this. That's what the police are there to do. And on top of that, the people that are causing all this destruction are saying that they're the peacemakers, are getting laughed at by the people who are celebrating Le Pen and Macron advancing in the polls, which basically brings it down to those two. And they're just saying, yeah, you call us monsters, yet look at the way you're acting. We're here in a civilized manner saying, hey, we've got two people in our presidential election, whether we like either side or not, great, our guys are in, while you're out there destroying property of people that you say you represent. And I would say the same to the Antifa people. You're a bunch of jackhats. You come to my town, we're going to stick you in a bunch of semi-trucks, Fords, Chevys. We're going to tie you to the back of Harleys. We're going to drag your ass out of this town. We don't like you. We don't want that bullshit. We don't want that mentality infecting our state. We have enough problems as it is. And in the Iowa University, they're starting to behave like this, and they have been warned by the alumni that if you know anything about alumni, they say, hey, you're going to behave like this, we don't give you money, you guys are in trouble for the year. One donor from my town gives to the Iowa University, and they give literally millions of dollars, which help a lot of people. They can say, we don't like your attitude, we're pulling out, we're done. Ooh. And Iowa University would be for a good 6 months to a year. And you can't even say, oh, well, you've got all the alumni Hawkeye fans, yeah, they'll start pulling out too, because we're still of the generation of what they would call fuddy-duddies. So my point is, people in France who are supposed to be these the paragons of civilization in a certain viewpoint, much as you would say about the Japanese or England or whatever in regards to American life, these people who say that they're protecting other people in their vested interest are behaving in the exact manner, much as Antifa does, about what they're saying about Le Pen and Macron. They're acting the same way. It's ridiculous. Now, there was somebody in the chat asked me, or was not, I don't think they were asking me, they were asking to talk about why they don't think Le Pen wouldn't win. I don't know. I can't vote in France. Do I think Le Pen's going to win? Yeah, there's a very good chance, but polls are deceiving and misrepresentate. They're misleading them all on all levels. And I'm sorry if I'm stumbling here. I got so many words in my head. They said the same crap about Trump. Oops. They said the same thing about Brexit. Yeah, look what happened there. And I think Razor Fist made a mention on Twitter. It's like, yeah, it's like history's repeating itself. Well, it very could well be, but Macron may also win. So yeah. It's really for the people of France in all their power. And I would say this and I've said this to my cousin, and I've said this to my family: get out there, vote how you need to vote. You have the chance to vote. You have these two candidates down from 4. Other people have spoken, and I don't see the people that have represented the other two parties who did not make it past the first draft pick being a bunch of crybabies. They're now going to split off with either Le Pen, or they're going to go to Macron, or they're going to sit back and say, well, I've done my part. Let everybody else have their say because I don't have a vested interest in this. It's called growing up, people. I mean, how much longer do you have to do this crap? You're destroying property. You're hurting your lives. You're hurting others. You're basically breaking the law when you claim to be on the side of law and order and justice and equality. How much longer are we as a race, the human race, no matter what our skin tone is, in America, in France, in England, whatever you want to call it, how much longer are we going to realize this is complete, utter garbage, and we need to knock this off because we're not only not leading an example for the future generations, like, yeah, we're a bunch of jackasses looking back at it, but it's like, why would we trust, we further sow the seeds of the sense saying, why would we trust you if you can't behave yourselves when you were our age? And don't get me wrong, Generation X, we're not angels. We're not perfect. We're not flawless. We blundered big time, and I've had to answer to my daughter and her friends who are millennials saying, yeah, we did this wrong, but we learned from this. And then we leave them to make their own choices and their own decisions and learn from their own mistakes. It just boils down to, conspiracy theories aside, thoughts aside, when are people going to really want to grow up already? And don't get me wrong, I love my Judas Priest, and I jam out to it every time I go to the gym to work on my bum leg. But I'm not telling somebody that Rob Halford's the greatest singer when they may like Lady Gaga. And I'll be honest, Lady Gaga's not that bad.
No, I'm not going to say. I'm with you, though. In fact, we were speaking a little bit about that. It's all of that like and dislike is subjective. But I would say this, Zero, because it's Conspiracy Monday, so I'm going to steer it this way every time I can. In my mind now, where the crazy dwells, I would say that this is what I believe. Now, I can't prove it. It's just what I think. Just like with Trump, I'm going to have to say if Le Pen doesn't win, I believe that there is a big... In fact, if she doesn't win in a landslide, which it looks like she's not going to, I believe there's a big fix in. What is that fix? I mean, look how they smeared Boris. Look how they smeared Nigel Farage. Said, oh, Boris humped every girl in England and then, or excuse me, Britannia, which would be an awful lot of chicks to hump. And then, of course, Nigel Farage was just a smoking, drinking buffoon, and no one should ever listen to him, even though he's one of the most powerful, eloquent speakers I've ever heard in my life. And why? To protect this Tower of Babel, this hub of unity in Europe that will never be unified. And I really see people starting to wake up and say, look, we want to be France. Viva la France. Look, we want to be England. We want to be the Netherlands. We want to be who we are. And this has been tried. It's what a good friend of mine would say is it's been shot at and missed, shit on and hit. And that's how I see it. This is a conspiracy trying to keep these people in it. And what do you know about Le Pen's main opponent now? Oh, you said his name, and I can't even say these
Macron.
names. Macron.
Macron or Macron, whatever.
Macron.
My French really sucks, but I think it's spelled out Macron.
Yeah, it's Macron. I can't get my mouth around that either, man. Ooh, that didn't sound good. It's hard for me to spit that out. Well, that didn't sound good either. It's hard for me to say that name.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
It's not necessarily an American thing. It's just if it's like anything else. If you run across a person and you haven't seen him for years, it's like, who's that person? You don't have that in your brain to say, oh, I know how to say that right, or I know how to say the appropriate pronunciation of whatever. It does happen. People
look at the euro right now. Look, imagine this: if they can get the euro in and keep it in, they have the same money manipulating powers that the Rothschilds started 200 years ago in Germany. We have to remember, Nathan Rothschild gets credit for saying this, but it actually comes from his father, Mayer Bauer Rothschild, who gave himself that name. Nobody knows what his name was. Red Shield was not his last name. The Red Shield was outside of his, what we now call a pawn shop. And because he had I don't know how much you know about this, and it doesn't really matter. I don't want to go too in depth, but for those of you that don't know, very quickly, Mayer Rothschild, the patriarch of the Rothschild family, he had a business where he would take people's gold. He would buy gold and silver, anything of value from people, and resell it. He was a hawk shop owner, but he had the best safe in town. So people would bring their gold to him, and they'd say, Bauer Rothschild, Mayer Rothschild, will you hold this gold? Of course he would. Yeah, I'll hold it. It'll cost you, so much a month. And he would give them a slip of paper. So many people kept their gold in his vault that they started to trade these pieces of paper. Now, of course, this is not where paper money came from. You have to go back to China about 2,000 years ago to get paper money, but this is where fractional reserve banking was invented. This a new kind of slavery that, to quote Zeitgeist, forces the slave to feed and house themselves, which is worse than anything I can imagine. So here he is giving out these slips. People are using them as money. And then somebody that's very wealthy in the town comes and says, Mr. Rothschild, I need to get the money out. He says, oh, but I don't have all of your money. I only have 10% of it. What? And then everybody ran in there. And for some reason, the name's escaping me, but someone did try this about 200 or 300 years before, and the townsfolk hung him. Well, for whatever reason, Mayer Rothschild was able to get on his stump and tell these people, well, look, I've created this new thing, and y'all are using that paper as money anyway. Why not just continue to use it and allow me to control how many of these papers are, and I can actually help you to have more wealth? And they agreed to it. He moved that on into England, France, London, Paris, New York, and I want to say Belgium. One slip in my mind. Someone will probably put it in the chat. This is what he said: give me control of a nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws. And I see this zero. I see all the riots. Who is paying? Antifa. You mentioned Antifa. Where are they getting the money to do this? Where are they getting the money? Where are they getting the people like the bike lock guy? He's a professor. These people are being motivated to carry this on so that the money, this is what I firmly believe, so that the money manipulators can have the chance to create this one vast ecumenical system of money and control that would span the globe. And they're afraid right now.
Yeah, they are very afraid because they want what they want. And about the euro, it's going to go. I'm going to go back to what my original article was. We've got when it says basically protesters waving red flags and sung "No Marine and no Macron" in anger and result of Sunday's first-round presidential election. Not only do these guys not realize, look, it's going to be one of the two, whether you like it or not. But if Le Pen doesn't get in there, Macron, I don't know the gentleman. I have nothing against him, but he just may say, yeah, pay me for whatever you want and I'll sign whatever law. That's the way it's always been. That's the problem. And it's like anything else. You can only push people so far before actual legitimate rebellion happens. And I'm talking on a worldwide scale. We're going to go, if people keep being over-entitled pieces of shit, we're basically gonna make the Galactic Rebellion in Star Wars look like a sandbox brawl. That's all there is. There ain't gonna be no Jedi. There ain't gonna be no Sith. You use whatever science fiction or science fantasy reference you want. that's what it's going to be. And they're going to keep the euro to where it's at. And this is one of the reasons that Brexit already said told them, the EU, to piss off, is you basically made our money shit. We don't like it. We want our own control. And that's what France wants. And that's what everybody else wants. We don't mind the euro. We don't mind going over and having, as an American saying, all right, I've got $100 American here. Can you give me, let's just say it was 90, it gives you 90 euro. Oh, great. I've got 90 euro to spend in all these countries that I can also trade in for their own cash in case they don't take it. It's that freedom of choice. They don't want you to have freedom of choice. The more you take choice, hope, and everything away from people, the more rebellion you get, the more fight you get, the more problems you get. And the people like Antifa and all these people that are bitching about Le Pen and Macron in France, they don't know, Dave Mustaine said Americans don't know how good they've got it. Well, he was right. People in France and England, up until the immigration issue started, you don't know how good you still got it. And you're letting all these jackhats like Bill Nye tell you this is what it is, whether you like it or not. Bitches, you don't pay my rent. You don't pay my house payment. I do. You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell my friends and family what to do. Get in your truck, leave the state, piss off. That's what people need to start doing. They don't want to do it because they don't want to feel outcast. Well, the way society is going and the way society is right now, it's better to be an outlaw and an outcast than it is to be somebody who fits in.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned Bill Nye. I'm going to pause this bit and go back, but Bill Nye has a new just pop it up right here on Netflix as soon as I make sure there's
him and his there's more than one whatever. I guess even as a scientist, he's fallible to human sin and stupidity, because he forgets that we all either have the XX chromosome or the XY chromosome, except for maybe him. And I'd say he's a robot, but I'm sure Futurama fans would get pissed off at me.
Yeah, well, so might I, because robots wouldn't have this kind of, unless it was, I guess, well, they could program in morality to a, but there, here it is. It's so humbly named, Zero. Bill Nye saves the world. And I don't know about you, but I don't think the jury is totally, this is conspiracy theory. We can go off any ramble we want, but I don't think the jury's in on this whole global whatever, according to an inconvenient bullshit, by Al Gore. I mean, Tipper Gore and Al Gore. They were saying that the ice caps would be melted. We'd be underwater right now. New York City, you'd have to go to the top of the freaking Empire State Building, or you'd be underwater. Yep. Where's it at?
Yeah, Razorfist did a video on that, and boy, he called it, and it was the best slam I had ever seen. But I would like to remind people of something. I mean, you probably do remember this, Ogre. Back in the 80s, we had the Parental Music Resource.
Oh yeah,
PMRC, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tipper Gore was ahead of it. Hated Blackie Lawless. Hated your band. Hated Judas Priest. Hated Rob Halford.
And they hate. Yeah, and they mouthed off to people. And you got people from different genres. You had John Denver. It was like the dynamic trio of people telling him what's up. It was Dee Snider, John loving Denver of all people, loved the man, missed the guy, and Frank the Man Zappa saying, really? You're claiming to be what is in the moral best interest of everything, and then we come up here and we show you how intelligent we are and smarter than you, and all you come up with is a parental warning label, which is not only notoriously backfired, but caused more record sales alone, because parents will be more than happy to buy their kids music because it's like, hey, look, I listen, for me, when Warren's Cherry Pie came out, it had that little black sticker on it. I said to my dad, Dad, I'm 15. They won't sell this to me, but I like these guys. He goes, well, I had Elvis and Bill Haley in the comments when I was your age. Yeah, I'll get you it. And now that's exactly what the left is. They've become a PMRC of everything. This is what
everything.
And it's all starting to backfire them on again. You can put labels on all that shit, but it doesn't, Bill Nye can put labels on everything, and it's all backfiring on them. They don't want to admit it, and it's just shooting them in the foot, biting them in the ass, whatever euphemism you want to use. I don't really care. But I lived through this crap, and I'm like, I've had enough of it. And this is why I tell people to reiterate for the 15th time, the more you push, the more people push back.
Yep.
And they tried to do all this crap to control us, and this is why you have problems. Well, now the people that, so on and so forth. But people don't know how good they've got it. They really genuinely don't.
You tickled me a little bit. I had to let you finish there, but you said the whole, to me, when you mentioned John Denver, to me, I would put Blackie Lawless, but going back in my mind, you're right. It was Zappa, Denver, and they were like the holy trinity of rock and roll.
Snyder. It was
Dee Snider. Thank you, Dee Snider.
Yeah,
and I think Dee Snider still has a radio show. He's still as wild as ever, man, out there just crusading. And he's do you know much about him nowadays?
Yeah, I've followed Mr. Snyder for a good long time. I don't ever really get to watch his show, but I love reading Wikipedia and I love reading his site and fan sites and everything, just of musicians in general. And that's kind of how that's how I again got to Razor Fist and learned about Rob Halford speaking up for the freedom of expression and religion on behalf of Chick-fil-A, when everybody's like, oh, the Chick-fil-A hates the gays, and Rob Halford, which nobody reported, said, hey, look, I don't agree with this, but it's their business and it's their right to do so. And I said, that is fucking why people like Rob Halford.
He actually ate a Chick-fil-A sandwich. He got a Chick-fil-A sandwich and he was like, it's good, it's good.
And that's why people like Rob Halford, Dee Snider, all those guys are legendary, because nobody forces you to listen to their music. They make music, you like it or you don't. They're okay with that, but they also want you to be you and enjoy your life as well without restraint.
Well, you said it best. The fools thought that they would stop some, just like they're trying to stop Le Pen. They may stop her, just like they tried to stop Trump, and they didn't. But they tried to stop this with their little BS bunk sticker. And what did it do? It sold billions of records. Billions. I just think that's hilarious when it backfires like that.
I was actually speaking of that. If Le Pen doesn't win, I'm not going to say I'm not surprised, but I'm very proud of the people of France for making their choice and their voices be heard. So Godspeed to France either way. And people in regards to Antifa, they need to start watching themselves, because they are now. They have been for a while been considered a terrorist organization, while the alphabet agencies are now watching them closer than they watch anybody else, if you want to talk about conspiracy theories, because of people selling stuff online to where you can have knives pop out of little credit card sized wallet bits and stab people. It's like, okay, you want to prison shank somebody? I got a little thing for you. You can have your little credit card knives. I got two buddies. They're called Colt 45s. You will lose, and the police will not stop people from shooting other people. They'll be like, fine, we'll clean up your mess later. That's what we get paid for. We're not risking our lives.
They'll write the police report. Yep.
Yeah, they'll write the police report and say, oh, dumbass got in the way of stupid, and stupid shot him.
Yep, there you go. And you know what? Count Dankula just did something. I just want to interject and let you go because you're on a roll. But the credit card knife, I didn't know that existed until Dank had a thing. He just hosted Sargon's show also, man. I'm so proud of you, Dankula. Listen, for those of you that don't know, he's right there above my head, and that's Count Dankula. Look, I've got to let Zero on his roll, so I'll tell you about Dankula later. But, yeah. They're going, look, I tried to release my, this is definitely on topic, but I held my prize rooster, who's not the biggest, but he's solid black Australorp, big comb. I had him in here all winter. I tried to let him out today.
He wants back in.
I've got something like 12 roosters right now. And when they seen him with his big comb and he came out there, he's up all winter with two hens. He's out there. They drop one wing and they start going like sidestepping, and he was humping like a maniac. The other roosters seen that. Man, he got spurred right through his comb. They were like attacking his comb. So I grabbed him and brought him back in. I'm gonna off at least 6 and probably more like 8 of those roosters. And so I only have, because the prize roosters I have, they're so big and tough, they don't have nothing to prove. So I want to get back on because you were on a roll. So we were talking about the PMRC, and don't you feel like that was even a conspiracy? Because in the end, they tried to say, it's for the children. We got to save the children, and what really happened is they exposed a younger group of children to stuff that, and again, look, this is very subjective, man, but they exposed a younger group of children to the things that they may or may not should have been exposed to. See what I mean? What was that part of the plan?
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think that's just government trying to force its hand where it wasn't really necessary, because they were getting pissed off because the music companies such as Capitol Records or EMI they, they have accountants and lawyers not to pay taxes or report taxes or losses for a reason, and that's why the government was getting pissed off about that. That's really the genuine reason why they try to control stuff. And it's like anything else. You tell a kid not to do something, of course they're going to do it. Now, the other side of that is, if you tell a kid not, a prime example, we've all heard it. If you tell a child not to touch a hot stove and they do it anyway, they're going to get burned. And you're like, I tried to tell you not to do that. And then the flip side of that is, I'm telling you not to do this, and you go out and do it and you succeed and get away with it. It's the fascination with being rebellious and deviant in regards to the rules of the household and whatnot. And, sometimes you learn from it, sometimes you don't. But when my father, being who he is, says, well, we don't like heavy metal. We can't stand that noise. I don't understand how you can listen to it. And years later, I listened to some of the stuff my daughter listened to, and I'm like, oh, God, here are headphones. And there's the reason why. You get that perspective if you live long enough of that of your parent, if you become a parent. So my parents, for my 16th birthday, got me what would be basically Beats these days, not back then, but really nice Sony headphones. And they said, you can, I had the Sony Walkman cassette player, made mixtapes and everything. They said, you can listen to Metallica or whatever the hell you want. That isn't what your sister listens to, as long as you use these headphones. And I really thought at the time my dad was censoring me, because that's what it ultimately led. And I'll get back to the censorship part. But what my dad was telling me was, I respect you enough as my son. You are going to listen to what you're going to listen to when you want to. I can't stop you. It would give me a heart attack. So here's some headphones. I don't want to hear it, but enjoy. Now, the part of that was I started singing. Then he really got pissed, so I stopped singing. But it is censorship. It was censorship on behalf of the PMRC, much like any government agency. They want to control things. YouTube does it. Thankfully, you're not getting monetized for this. Otherwise, they'd strip you. They'd tell you to piss off right now, or whenever they see this, if they do. Twitter does the same thing, but Twitter has actually, in a way, lightened up, because I'm sure that they've been more than once told off by people, you can't tell us what to do. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have business, and they realized it. Facebook and Zuckerberg being the cock that he is, I don't give a shit how many billions of dollars Zuckerberg has, or that his, with respect to him and his wife, I don't care what they do. They're not going to come tell me what to do. I don't tell them what to do. I basically said, look, I use your service. You get money from the ads. I see the ads and buy the product. The ads pay you. That's how you made your money. You didn't make money off me, buttface. Period. So don't tell me what I can and can't say on your platform, which you helped develop with 2 or 3 other people, and essentially what some people would say, stole from them. So fight me. Don't censor me. You don't have that right. But what it ultimately breaks down to is judgment. Good judgment, bad judgment, judgment being used as opposed to not being used at all. Which is the long way of me saying that's why my dad gave me headphones.
Well, and also maybe he didn't want to hear. But there's what I want to get you to is this. Can I ask you a personal question that you may or may not want to answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
How old were you when your father first gave you the keys to a car or a motorcycle or a 4-wheeler and said, hey, boy, go up to town and get me a Coca-Cola and a Butterfinger and come back?
Never.
Oh, okay. So can I ask you, how old were you when your father first taught you to drive or do something that people would consider was supposed to be for older people?
He didn't teach me. He actually took me out on one lesson out into an open field in which there's an end to this, which should be predictable if you can't tell where it's going. He only gave me one lesson, and it ended up in a farm, in a field of corn that had just been harvested. I found the one hole. So it was about 16. So my dad's like, "Here's $50. Go take the driver's ed. Get out of my face." My dad was never a cruel man. He had no tolerance for shenanigans, and I was shenanigans at 16.
I'll put it in a different way. The first time my old man gave me the keys to a 450 Honda CB motorcycle, 4-cylinder, and was like, he said, go up to, I can't say the name of the store because if you'd be able to find it in Michigan, if you look, it's still there. He said, go to this store. It was about 3 miles, and I had to go down our dirt road and then get on a main drag and then go down. It was like right in downtown Ogerville. and get me up. That's why I said Butterfinger and a Coke and come back. I was 8 years old. I actually pulled into a neighbor's yard that I helped because my dad was a mechanic and this man was a mechanic, and I would help him too. And he did cool stuff, gave me money. He was just a good friend of my dad's. And I pulled in there to see Mr. M. And when I did, he had pea gravel and I dumped the motorcycle. I was like, oh, Mr. M, come help me. Because if Mr. Ogre finds out I dumped the bike, he's going to kill me. I was supposed to go to the store back. And do you think it's wrong well, and I already kind of know the answer because of what you said about the music and giving somebody the ability to be able to make good choices. So was it bad that my old man threw me those keys? Or was it bad that like 2 weeks later, he gave me the keys to his 1972 Duster and was like, now go up and get me he called the store, was like, I'm really thirsty. Go get me a 6-pack of Budweiser and a hamburger. And,
I think those were different times is all. And no, honestly, I don't. My dad, I was always more of a bike rider at that age. I loved to ride a 10-speeder. We would go over to a local hill, which we wore down over the years, making it into a dirt ramp. He's like, Zero. And I'm like, yeah, Pops. And he goes, don't call me Pops. And I said, okay, Pops, because whatever. But he hated that term, but I didn't like saying Dad. I like calling him Pops. And he's like, here's $3, back in 1980, whatever. Here's $3 for you to go bicycle down to the local convenience store, which we only had maybe 2 at the whole time at that time, back in '84. And here's, $5, get me these items, bring them back. And I'm like, oh, I've got $3. That was a lot back in the 80s.
Heck
And you could get like a week's supply of corn nuts and Mountain Dew for that if you wanted.
Daggone right.
And so that's what he did for me. But my sister, however, she went out and got a job when she was 15. And my parents did the same for me when I turned 20. They helped me buy a car, but I had to pay them back. So nobody in our family was spoiled. Here's a car, you don't have to pay me. No. So it was different for each of us. But I was more into music and art and comic books. That's why my dad spent that money on the headphones saying, listen to your Metallica all you want. I don't want to hear it, but enjoy it. Here's the expensive headphones. Opposed to, we're going to help you get a car because you don't know how to drive yet.
When you say that, for those that don't know, $3 would fill up my Honda 80, my XLR 80, full of gas, full. Was like 4 days for me. It'd get me a Coca-Cola in the 16-ounce glass bottle. It'd get me a couple of fruit pies, like Little Debbie fruit pies, and I'd still have $1.50 in my pocket.
Yeah.
But those headphones you're talking about, the Walkmans with the nice headphones, were $180. I know because my parents also got me a pair.
And you gotta think about what my father in today's society, when he was in his prime working at his job, he'd be making the equivalency in a factory of, by today's standards, about $45 an hour.
Right.
So in the 80s, making $25 an hour at a factory, that's a damn lot. So that's why they had all the 2 cars paid off, because Mom had one of her own, she worked too. They had the house paid off within 10 years of a 30-year contract because they told the interest, bite me. And they were able to save up, and they had the retirement money and sell all their stock when they did. And why they were always able to pay for stuff straight out, because they didn't want to screw around with the bank, and they didn't want to waste time with contracts and other BS that they didn't have to. And that's why he said, here's $3, go nuts, enjoy it. Corn nuts and Mountain Dew back in the day for a week for a kid. And then I still, I never bought him cigarettes, but he says, your mom's gone out of town. Can you please go grab me a 6-pack? And these were the funky old cans, a 6-pack of Pepsi. Well, there you go. Or go with your sister, and you may remember these 24 container wood cases of 12 to 16 ounce glass bottles of Pepsi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we did, and that was responsibility for us, because our job was to get the order right, pay attention, follow instructions, not break the product. And that's something that we teach our kids these days in different ways. It's like, well, if you want to listen to Lady Gaga or whatever you listen to, people, great. Feel free to get your kids those iPods and say, you're going to pay me back for this, and have them sign a contract, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And some people say, well, that's being controlling. No, that's being fair and justified, unlike the PMRC. And that's pretty much it. So the PMRC was trying to say, hey, you can't listen to all these bands over here, which end up selling more, and then the bands that, like I liked Metallica and Megadeth and Iron Maiden, but bands also like Stryper and everything else, they would also get more sales, not because they didn't have the labels. It's because, well, yeah, right, there you go. You voted. because people would go out and buy the dirty records and then say, oh, I want something else, and they still have enough money to go out and buy the clean records or whatever you want to call it. And when I say records, people, I'm talking old school vinyl. Now, I know they've brought vinyl back out in digital format, but it isn't. Yeah, you can argue semantics on if you think it sounds as good, if not, and or better, or if it has soul. So that's what's going on with America at the point, and what is going on. And Canada is starting to tell Justin Trudeau to piss off too, thankfully. And that's what's going on with France right now. But in addition, besides all these things, people saying, hey, you know, we want what we want, that's great, but you work for us, and we don't care if you give us headphones to listen to our music, as long as you're telling us that we can listen to our music. We don't want to be controlled. And that's why, but, you know, again, in a roundabout way, that's what's happening. People don't want to be controlled. They're being pushed too far. They're not being given the chance to have the option of either, you know, listening to it with or without headphones, so to speak. And I guess that's a poor metaphor, but I don't really know what to tell you.
It's actually, that's beautiful, bro. And I got to say something else. You've made one of the best points that look, let's face it. I love the Lord. I'm a Christian. I don't know if you probably, I believe I've heard you say you're an atheist. I have respect for you. It doesn't matter to me what you believe. That's between you and yourself.
I'm an agnostic.
Yeah, agnostic. And look, that's between you and yourself, or you and whatever. That's totally up to you. The way I believe says that, you know, if there's a God, he would impress you. It's not my job to tell you anything. And anybody that goes about saying, oh, you're going to go to hell, and well, we'll see when you're burning in hell. Well, they're obviously not a Christian, or they wouldn't say that kind of shit. But that said, you know, God put the garden, that if you believe the mythos, it's a tree in there, and man, in paradise, Adam finally got his woman, seeing all the animals hump, and they got his woman. And then what did he do? The woman went and ate the fruit. Nothing happened. She comes back with the fruit, because everybody blazes the woman. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't until Adam ate that any eyes were open in this mythos. And he chose that because he was told that he shouldn't. And my goodness, if someone could say, hey, how you doing, Dop? If someone could,
hello,
if an entity could tempt a perfect being.
Hey, Double.
Yeah, and listen, I'm so glad you're here, Dop, because here it is, man. It's Conspiracy Monday. We've kind of, I like Zero. And I tell you, if anybody can fill time with an excellent voice, by the way, I know you probably don't want me saying this live. That's why I'm doing it. He's got a great radio voice, don't he, Dop?
Yep, that he does. And that's a great asset for such streams.
I would like to put this on record. I have respect for Jeff Holiday, and I've seen some of his videos, and I did find out who Chris Raygun is. That boy is too young and too skinny to be your true Zero Cool, and we sound nothing alike. With no disrespect to Mr. Raygun.
No, he's a great guy, but I'll tell you what, man, I can't really now in this conjunction. I'm just gonna say
some people think I sound like him, and I don't think I do.
Well, you got that just because you sound very young. That's all I'll say. You do. If I didn't know how old you were right now, I would guess you at like 22. You just have a very crisp young voice. And look, enough about that. Everybody knows me. If I get on a roll, I'll start talking about how cool somebody is. So Doppelganger just showed up.
Smoke.
And if you notice, I'm going to hit my bong. And while I do that, you're always getting talked over, usually by your beloved ogre. So what you got today, brother? You got all the time you want.
Well, first things first, I gotta ask you, where is Sargon?
Oh, Sargon's on at 6 tonight. This is just a little show. No, Sargon will be on at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which I believe is
I get you. Good.
Yeah,
okay.
No. And so, in other words, don't blow your wad here either. That's why you don't see the Britisher here. I don't know, Cabbage. And listen, for anybody that's seen the last broadcast, I got to make a little disclaimer. Cabbage and I are really good mates, and sometimes we work stuff out behind the scenes that no one except for him and I know about. So that said,
okay, look,
some of the
I
more
didn't realize
things,
it may work like that, but now that you told me, well, you've mentioned that before, actually.
And I'll say this: those things, like that, I'm not going to reiterate, but those things that happened, like last time, look, I'm smiling, I can't stop laughing, will be coming to an end. Because
look,
between the two of us,
I believe what happened was good for engagement, and if only I realized, it would be all great. I'm sorry for not realizing that. That's all I have to say. Otherwise, it was good. As I said
Thanks a
many
lot,
times
Doc.
before, conflict drives engagement. So or disparagement drives engagement.
Well, and you know that it wouldn't be the same if we even let you in on it. If it's a real
Yeah, obviously.
So nobody. But that said, Cabbage, because some people are probably saying, "Oh, he's not here today," and he's probably I want to say two things. You can't hurt Cabbage's feelings because he doesn't have any. That's number one. And number two, he's him and myself. I would say not so much myself. I can't throw myself in on this, but Cabbage is a genius when it comes to what people will like to listen to. So when it comes to if he comes to me and he says, "Hey, we should do this, that, and the other thing," I don't always say yes, but I always go, and consider it, because we pulled off some good stunts in the past. And even though I said what we just said, our stunts aren't concluded, believe that. So I'm sorry, Doc, what were you saying before I cut you off again?
Quick remark, I need to swap batteries in my headphones, so I'll be unavailable in for a few seconds.
Okay. And then when you come back, I want you to get us on one of these conspiracy theories. Dop sent me about 4 or 5 good emails today. I'm going to go rifle through those right now, Doppy.
He must have the good set of headphones because I've just got the simple $50 Logitech ones that you plug into your USB that power it.
Doppelganger's headphones come from an alternate universe. They are much better than our earthly technology.
Probably built by Jack the King Kirby, which is why they're so pimping and use batteries all the time.
Jack Kirby. Oh, I hope everybody got that reference. That was great.
Nobody probably gets the reference. If you don't know who Jack Kirby is, go look
him up.
Go look up Jack the King Kirby and how much you owe him in regards to your entertainment these days.
Amen.
Okay,
yeah, we'll let him do that. Here you go, brother.
If you want a real, actual conspiracy stuff, things that have happened and are kind of scary, check out this thing. It's basically scary stuff from the future that's actually available today.
I'm popping it up, and I'll let you narrate or talk about it. Do you want me to just let the thing play? There's probably no copyright on this.
It's from some scientific research, so most probably you won't get any strikes. Basically, they created a program that animates an avatar that you can make look like a famous person or whatever, and it follows pretty nicely a person's facial expressions.
You can see it happening right here. So in other words, GW is following him right here, and he's talking, but it's GW's voice.
I'm not sure actually, but I think it was only the facial animation, whereas I got this from from a discussion thread, which, where is it? Oh yeah, there it is, which is about actually mimicking somebody's voice. So basically those two combined create perfect storm.
Wow, that's nice, isn't it?
I'm not sure how well I can narrate it, so that's why.
No, I'm looking. I'm still looking. You can see right here. It went through back here the way that it does it, and I'm going up here, and they're actually pulling out the Trumpster.
Yep.
And they got the Trump Meister.
I just dropped the second link, which is creation of voice, or rather mimicking of somebody's voice. So hopefully you can narrate both of them and let people know how badly this bodes for the future.
That's one step closer to unadulterated identity theft. Thanks, jackass.
Yeah. Well, it's showing again the facial recognition, and this is the source actor being captured with a standard webcam, and it looks to me right here. I'm looking at my webcam right now. This looks like it's a Logitech C922 HD. Web one, and that is a nice webcam, but it's just a freaking webcam. It's not like he's got
it's cheap as fuck, so basically you don't need anything huge to pull this kind of stunt.
Well, if we think about this, look, just recently I was just watching somebody put up a video. I should look it up and give them credit. 4chan breaks Shia LaBeouf, and my goodness, they just what they have done with Bike Lot Guy. I mean, and all that's done by people that are much more intelligent than I am, I'm sure. Well, I don't know what they are. I really don't know. I don't know if it's just because they're like a hive mind. They're the Borg or what? But for whatever reason, they found Bike Lot Guy. They can't. Shia LaBeouf is cringing. He's now in Scandinavia somewhere in a log cabin inside of a museum. Just there, only texting or tweeting or something. And that's it. Communicate. They have driven him insane.
Yeah, and the story with just 1 or 2 people buying tickets for his movie didn't help either. I believe they also, Fortune also found Yvette Flarka on the among the Berkeley Antifa.
Oh, I've had her number to her school and stuff. I'm not going to give it out here, but it's easy to find. Somebody sent it on one of my videos, and I didn't take the link down.
They found her on the pictures taken or maybe movies taken during the Berkeley riots.
Help me say that name so I can understand it. It's Yvette Flarka.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I pronounce it.
I'm not either.
Flarka or
Flarka. Yeah. Yvette though is the first name.
Yeah.
Yevette or some. I don't know. Anyway. Boy, I tell you what, when I seen her hitting that dude, bam, bam, and he, they drug him to the ground. If it wasn't for those police, I don't care how tough you are. If a mob mobs you, it's your ass. It could be a mob of 14-year-old girls. If there's 40 of them and they are of one, do you know, Doppelganger or Zero Cool? What has science decided is the single most natural, organic, or I should say animated organic threat on Earth? In other words, what thing on Earth is the most powerful force that is, an animal or an insect or whatever?
Oh, let me guess. That would be ants.
Somebody would guess army ants. I knew that. And you know what? I can't argue with that. But science has come to the conclusion, and maybe they were going by mammals, but a wolf pack. Because everybody says, oh, what about lions, or the way the females hunt is? What about insert anything, hippos? But the fact of the matter is, if one hippo was on the ground, in fact, if a group of hippos were there and the wolf pack wanted one of their babies, it would get them, dude. It's the most unstoppable. But if you did what you just said, and you got to figure the way, I don't know if I seen this on what's it called? Has anybody seen the show on Animal Planet where they do the one animal versus the other? This was their finale, I think, on season 2. So that's my source, by the way. It's a TV show on Discovery Channel or whatever, the Learning Channel, something like that. So I'm not absolute. But when you said that, the army ants, what ant would you say to? I know this is conspiracy money, but this stuff is intriguing to me. When I think of nature, I always think of the guy that was a bear man. He went to Alaska, and they call him Grizzly Man, right? Grizzly Man, no weapon. Yeah. And I think it was Bill Burr, some comedian that's way better than I'll ever be. He was like, every time I think of Grizzly Man, I can hear Werner Herzog, isn't that his name? The guy, the announcer, and he was like, the Grizzly Man thinks that nature is something that can be approached from the aspect that it has a heart, but nature is cruel. Nature does not see anything but weakness or strength. You see here the Grizzly Man being eaten by the true grizzly. You know what I mean? It's like, anyway, wow, that was long. I got stoned and I started thinking about conspiracy theories. And then I thought, the world is one. Some folks would have you believe that everything's good. Yvette Flarka is nothing to be worried about. She's just out there fighting doggone whatever she says she's fighting by punching people in the ribs and saying, stay off our streets, and being a member of a school board. All of these things, man, because I could be a little crazy, but guess what? I ain't the member of shit. Jack or shit. Jack left town. I'm not the member of nothing. I take care of some chickens. I make no decisions for anything but my own home.
Well, if you've got people that are in the position of educating children who are around punching people.
Zero, we cannot hear you, really.
Yeah, right.
You're coming very distant, mate.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Okay. I don't know.
No, that's better.
Okay.
Wow, no, that's going out.
Hold on.
Yeah, just give a second, man. Come back when you think you got it settled.
Okay, that should take care of it.
So, Doppelganger, I did go on a long diatribe there, but it's Conspiracy Monday. That means you can say whatever you want to say right now for 2 minutes.
Dude, you gotta give me some time to prepare.
Oh, well, you did. You were talking about this facial recognition software. This thing.
Right.
Why would this be a bad thing? Help me understand why.
Why would it be a bad thing? Shit. Where to start?
Basically, you can create a movie that appears to present any person, really anybody you wish, saying or doing anything you want, and the movie will look pretty real, as you can see on this YouTube film. It could be created. It could be used to create some entrapment videos, or I don't know, some fake evidence or whatever. Even if it was disproven later, just the fact that somebody presented it to wide public would be able to cause significant damage to somebody's reputation, like politicians, sportsmen, or other celebrity.
I'd prod you just a little bit and ask the question: do you think this technology is really new, or could they have already done this with, say, because I've seen the many bin Ladens, and if you look at bin Laden through the years when he's given his speeches or whatnot, I can see that it's not like myself through the years where I've changed gradually, and you could look at a picture even 25 years ago and you could see the young man that is now hidden underneath this old man. But with bin Laden, man, it was like he was a fat man, a skinny man. He had a dark beard, a gray beard. I mean, he was like this man, that man. He spoke one kind of Farsi or whatever it was, or some other kind. Do you think that, so long way of asking, do either one of y'all think that this could have already been used and it just wasn't as good as it is now?
Oh, they use that every time in the movies. I mean, how do you think half the movies are made anymore? You got, let's just say, the last Ninja Turtles movie that came out. Well, duh. They've been using facial recognition technology and biometrics for at least 10 years, especially in the movie industry. This is just more available for the layman or everyday, and with the way our country is right now, you're going to get a bunch of idiots running around pulling shit up like, oh, I can make a video of Donald Trump saying whatever I want. I can make a video of Barack Obama saying whatever I want. And you basically just force the alphabet companies. You basically got you're basically giving the alphabet government agencies the authority to say, you know what, we can strip more rights away from your constitutional rights as it is. We have to put this law in effect because you act like this. So again, going back to the metaphor of, look, my dad doesn't like me listening to Metallica, so if he buys me some really expensive headphones, it is now my choice to whether or not to use those headphones. I know what happens if I do, and I know what happens if I don't. And that's exactly what any and all technology has always been. You have the choice to use it for good or ill, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. And we've seen what happens when you do it the good way, and we've seen what happens when you do it the bad way. And we've too much seen it within the last 20 years at least of what happens when you abuse technology. This is no different.
Yeah, definitely. I believe the real breakthrough with this particular research that we found is that they are able this time to do it live or in real time, rather than as in making movies, you have to create it in advance. So basically now you can do it live. For example, you could do it as some important events are unfolding and splice it into some, I don't know, TV live reportage or whatever.
And that's gonna, and Mark, that's gonna go right back to what I just said, as to where people are gonna pull that shit, and it's gonna cause a lot of problems, and it's gonna give government agencies more control than they need, and it's going to lean things in the favor of, I would, dare say, the liberals or people like Bernie or Hillary, instead of people saying, okay, well, we actually need to look into this, and why is this bullshit happening? Sooner or later, this technology is going to get out of hand and backfire. I mean, it wasn't even conceivable back in the late 90s to think we're going to have automobiles that are going to have so much computer circuitry in it that if, in case of an emergency, which is what OnStar was originally designed, and the government did, yes, reverse engineer this, obviously, to where, oh, you're in an emergency, your hands are pinned, but we can't get to you because the doors have automatically locked. Somebody makes a call, we automatically unlock the doors for the firemen or the ambulance crew or the police to rescue you. Well, now the government, and yes, they can do this, anything from, in America, anything from a 2014 model plus vehicle of most any type, they can say, you know what, OnStar, we're telling you by federal or in court order to shut this vehicle down because we had this person who basically just robbed the store and killed 5 people.
Yeah, I can definitely see potential for abuse.
And what if
both
they,
as-
and they have gotten, sorry to interrupt, Mark, but they have gotten the wrong people saying, oh, it's this car when it was the same model car, wrong number on the plate.
Yeah, definitely. Both as mistaken or malicious government action, and also as malicious actions by individual employees or agents of government, because we all know that people in power are easily corruptible. And we all know that, for example, in case of CIA or other spy agencies, they were using their spying tools to control their lovers or wives or whatever. So yeah, this has already been happening on some scale, and the more tools are available, the more such abuses will be going on.
And furthermore, technology like this strips away the privacy of the average individual. They may think, oh, this is great, but they have shown this time and again. And a prime example within the last 10 years, for me at least, was when the PlayStation 3 network went up and running, they said, oh, we're uncorruptible. You can't hack us. Well, apparently the challenge was accepted because within a day after opening their pie holes, they had a person crack in and say, no, I just basically broke in your system and I can give all this information of all your people online to whoever the fuck I want and get away with it.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation Network, Sony, said, oh, oops. Yeah, well, this is the exact same thing. You're going to piss a person off. See, I couldn't do this, but I know there are people that are younger than me that have more free time than me or who are learning on computers in schools, which I personally think is a bad idea for a lot of things. They're going to find ways that, oh, we can just change this one tiny letter or number in the code, and now it can do what I want. That's what modifications are called. They do this shit to PC games all the time. This is no different. This is basically, this is Pandora's box starting to show a massive crack in which chaos is getting leaked out. And if hope is the last thing that's left in there, we're all fucked. Because this
and
is
I would like to read what AlphaGo has just posted in comments. AlphaGo says, when I did jury service, they showed us files of motorway junction camera shots of suspect's car. The whole UK is monitored. Oh, and Anna is with us. Hello, Anna.
Hello, Anna.
Oh, you're muted. We cannot hear you. Okay, so back to the subject while Anna sorts out her cell phone, I believe.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't even want to go to a jury duty to where like, oh, we have all this blah, blah, blah. That basically, it's to the point where I'm going to say this straight out. Lawyers, they all need to go. The phrase kill all lawyers needs to happen. The ACLU of all things need to go bye-bye. These are people that have too much legal power that bend the law to their will and need to go bye-bye. They are troublemakers. That's all they live for, because if they had any real lives, they'd be finding something else to do. They say that they're making things good for people. They're not.
Yeah. Also, another factor in this all is that we know that the consumer products are usually made with most focus on lowering the costs, which basically mean that any computer or any software in car or whatever device you're buying, we get computer basically in every device we are buying now. They will be made as cheaply as possible, which means low security, and we end up using devices where we really cannot even comprehend or check how secure or unsecure they are.
And that kind of goes back to the kerfluffle of when one of you guys could probably pull this up, or Mark, you probably know what I'm talking about. When the FBI basically said to Apple, yeah, we need you to crack these phones, and then they tried to fight against that, and the FBI was basically like, no, you still lose, because this act was committed and it was considered an act of violence, which is not allowed in our society.
Yeah.
And then I've known since I've had a cell phone. Hell, I know my Samsung S3 was like, oh, you got an S3. I don't really give a shit. I know that they can listen to my calls if they're that fucking bored with their lives. I know that they can read my text messages because Samsung allows them to, because that's between Samsung and the government to sell their products. That is, if necessary, to stop a criminal or terrorist act, they will willingly give over your information for the so-called sanctity and security of the country. Well, that violates my personal freedom to call my mom and say, Mom, how are you doing? Oh, I don't feel well. Can you come over and handle these chores for us before tomorrow? If they're so bored to listen to that, hell, they can even listen to what I'm saying right now. And I tell them, go find something fucking else to do. You've got all these people in this country committing terrorist acts, trying to demean our way of life, no matter what our skin color is or what our religious beliefs are, and you're bored enough to listen to people on a YouTube chat. Get a fucking life.
Are you really gonna tell our listeners and viewers to get live? Come on. Anyway.
No, I'm talking about
that's what the guests are for. I don't know what he just said, but I kind of caught the end of it. Hey, look, you know what I like about you mentioned Razor Fist a lot, Zero, and one thing he said, he was like, he doesn't have a Patreon, which no offense if anybody does, because people that work with me, I think, do a couple, but that's up to them. It's totally their business. But his point is that once in a while he felt the need to tell the people that watch him to fuck off. Quote. He says it right on his channel. I'm not just saying that like there was no private conversation there. I've only talked to him for about maybe a grand total of a minute in my life privately. The rest was on the live stream. You can go watch it yourself. But anyway, that's why myself, I'm going to looking right now, and this is a good segue for me because I'm going to show a couple things. Yeah, real quick. This is from Nachi Free. Man, if you do not know who he is, I'm going to put him in the link. You probably do because I gloated about it the other day. He was on the show. The dude's made like a Mexican wrestling mask.
Whoa.
And, that's what he did.
Awesome.
Yeah. And like we talked, in fact, I think this is on the mail. So let me stop presenting this because if I stop that, you see the mail behind it. We're not going to talk about, I mean, he is an artist and I believe he has a Patreon. And if you want to donate to him. I mean, I'm not saying, I wasn't speaking before pro or anti. I'm just saying as for myself, I'll offer a service. I also know enough that I think I'm safe to say that Nachi wants to offer you a service. I mean, he believes he's offering you a service with his videos, and I do too. I go back and I look at my first videos, and it was just random me with a little cheap $8 webcam making it all. I mean, you go look at them; they're so cheap, though. I should take them down. I'm not gonna though. I want people to see that I jumped in this feet first, not knowing anything, and they still know nothing. But it's obvious that Nachi Free went into this with a plan, with an obvious plan of how he was going to do this. He's got Pinky, his little dope smoking buddy. Or you have to go see his stuff. It's pretty funny. But that said, what I do want to do, because he did me what I believe is a phenomenal deal for this art. I mean, this isn't what I would call fan art. He did on his channel where it's how to draw Satan in what is it, 3 minutes without catching a demon. Doppel, what is that? I'm going to look it up right now so I can share this stuff. But anyway, but he also does how to draw Slash in so much time. I'm looking it up right now. So the how to draw Satan. And again, listen, I may or may not condone everything that people do. I've watched I was binging his stuff last night. So I got up through, I think, number 17. And hey, he's on, that's why I like the guy. Another reason I like him, he's on the other side of the spectrum than I am. He had his eye on Trump. As soon as Trump said he would want to run, he was like, man, I think it's up to him to say what he felt about it. But he definitely wasn't waving a sign or wearing a red hat that said, make America great again. I guarantee you that. And look, I don't want to ramble on because I don't know how I feel about this, but this is what I told him because he's doing me a phenomenal deal on that art you saw. And as I said, let me screen share this. This guy's great. Oops. Hang on. Let me do it right. That should be. Yeah. So he shows you quickly here how to draw.
Ogre's touching
without getting
stuff.
You can see it go. I asked him how long it took to go from just blank white paper to done, and he said something like an hour. All you got to do though is consider what you would pay an artist, like say somebody that paints your car. They do whatever little body work that needs to be done, and then they paint your car. They paint it like brand new. Man, that depending upon the car, that's going to cost you. It's going to cost you couple thousand anyway. I don't care what it is, unless they're junky shade tree mechanic doing it.
Well, that's why they charge. That's why they charge you so much per hour, because they're showing their art, they're showing their skill. They want you as a customer to be happy. They want people to take pride in their work, and they want recommendations from the customer saying, "Yeah, I got exactly what I wanted from this totally awesome artist, and I recommend them."
Exactly.
People don't realize this.
There is this very neat effect where when you get a very expensive service or goods, you are more inclined to actually consider it high quality and premium and whatnot. So it makes total sense to actually charge arm and leg.
So y'all see me doing this. I've not quit screen sharing intentionally. Boom, that's his channel. I enjoy having y'all here, and I would love for you to stay until the broadcast is over, which is only going to go on for like another 40 minutes because I'm going to take probably a little nap. I was out tilling the soil today with a tiller. You know, it's rear time, but the whole time I'm going, if it's going in reverse, I've got to put a little pressure down on it usually, probably somewhere between 25 and 40 pounds. If it's going forward, if the tines are going forward the same way the wheels are spinning, it'll try to buck. So I've got to keep pressure a little bit off of those, and it ranges from probably 10 to 20 pounds, sometimes maybe 30 just in a spurt. And then when I turn around, of course, I have to lift it all the way up and make it turn around. But think about that. And if you don't think it's anything, go get something. Go get something like this right here. This probably weighs 2 pounds, 3 pounds maybe, and just hold it out like this. And then if you care to, go out and, especially if you're a fat body, you know, if you got some health problems that you know, everybody said you're fat. Listen, if somebody tells you you're fat and they're even near close to you, like a friend, just listen to them, man. Do something about it. It's better to be. And then if you do that for a while, you know, you'll see that, oh, it's not a joke. And then you got this bucking machine. So hell, I forgot the point of that is that work is good for the soul. It will help you think about these things that some people would call conspiracy theories. Carrie, are you ever going to speak up? Or because I was kind of trying to break in and maybe see if your mic was fixed, or I know you've got something, and we only got. I'm leaving at 4 o'clock hard today. I'm going to say my little spiel, you know, and be like, "Bye, Sydney Rough Diamond," and that's going to be the end of it because I want to take a little nap because, as I said, I was plowing the field. Oh, Mark Doppelganger sent me something else here. I wasn't paying attention. Let me look. Hey, did you know what it is today too? I think about the Anti-Defamation League and whatnot. Come on, you know, it's people as a person with a lot of Jewish blood in me. Never been a religious Jew. You know, I don't have the hair, obviously, and I'm not doing the thing. I don't wear a yarmulke. Never been to temple in my life. Just have Jewish blood in me. Because people are often confused about that, Dop. They don't know. They think that if I say I'm Jewish, that means I go to temple. But you can be Jewish and not have anything to do with religion whatsoever. You just say that
definitely.
Yes.
Basically, there is a culture which you can follow, and the religion is kind of separate issue, I believe.
Yeah, and what is today? Do you know what today is?
So what is it?
It's like National Holocaust Day.
Today is the remembrance of the Holocaust.
Oh,
I don't want to even talk about it. I just say, look, what I'm going to say is, I think it was Doppelganger who mentioned in the Holocaust things that the Jewish people run, there's a plaque there that will say who died. Because the only thing I've seen on Twitter before I just quit looking at Twitter because I seen what day it was and didn't want to see 1,000 of these, was 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust. And if you counted to 6 million right now, if you had a moment of silence for 6 million right now, second each, it'd be
11.5 years.
Yeah, what? Listen, man, I don't even want to do the filthy gesture. But come on, man. Look, what about the 90 million Russians that maybe weren't put in concentration camps? You know, they might have been able to take their bullet right away, or ran in front of a Jeep or a tank like a lot of them did, or their dog that had explosives was supposed to run under the tank in the battle of Stalingrad, got afraid in battle and came back and blew the frickin' whole platoon up, or however all them Russians died, man. Anyway, if you counted to one moment of silence for each one of them, it'd probably take you, you know, it'd be the next ice age. Global warming would be real. The dinosaurs would be back. You know, so I don't know what to say, but as someone that's related to Jewish people, you know, see, I seen somebody what it was, a Marley Schaefer. He was interviewing, it was like, well, Black History Month. He was interviewing Morgan Freeman. He was like, well, and he was like, I don't want a Black History Month. Morgan Freeman, I don't want a Black History Month. Marley Schaefer's like, well, you don't think that you, and he was like, well, do you want a White History Month or American History Month? He was like, oh, I'm not American, I'm Jewish. He said, do you want a Jewish History Month? Morley was like mortified. You could see in his eyes. He's like, no, sir, mister. So he was like dropping things going, no, Mr. Morgan, absolutely not. We don't want any kind of thing like that. He was like, well, then, you know, why would I want it? And so Jews, and to my knowledge, the few that I know, which are mostly family, would say, we don't want no day. We don't want a day. What we want is for people to not do it. We would rather people think about some other things that are glossed over, like the Armenian genocide. And there, I'll shut up on Armenian genocide. That's a conspiracy theory, I guess, even though it's fact. And Doppelganger put this up and said, Google pushes fake news. Sorry about that, Dop. It's just, you know, I'm excited about tonight and I'm tired. I'm ready to just chill for a minute and try to be a good host tonight. I was practicing today earlier, Zero. Was I doing better? Because I actually, a friend of mine called me yesterday and was like, hey, dude, you should let your guests speak more. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do my best. Here we go. Google pushes fake news. So did I do better today, Zero? I'm looking for an on-air compliment. And if not, what you do is you say, no, you motherfucker. You need to, no.
I never have anything to say about how anybody runs their own live stream. In fact, a friend of mine, as Seth, and I are going to do a live stream when we figure out how to do it. And it's just going to be, I don't know how he wants to run it or if he's going to have me run it. But when you're a guest on somebody's live stream, you show a decorum within the boundaries that they set. Like if I were to be on Razor Fist live stream, God forbid that would ever happen, because that I'd just pee myself. I love the guy so much. I'm a fan. I'm a fanboy. I'm sure he'd let me go off the rails. But if I were to be on President Trump's live stream,
oh man, that'd be tough for me now.
That would be the point. It's like a rule of the house. When you go to your friend's house or relative's house, you act accordingly.
What I would do is I wouldn't say
period.
Fucking thing, Zero. If I was on with probably even with Razor Fist, because I know me, if I open my mouth, it's too late. The cows are out the barn. So I just shut up.
Well, the one thing a lot of you know that I have a love for Razor Fist, because it's a metalhead's perspective. It's a metalhead's love, because I love the fact that
who couldn't love the muscular Vincini, man? He is the number one. He's right there. In my opinion, he's the best YouTuber there.
Gaming live. I've been on a gaming live stream with him, and he loves when people chime in, and he'll either agree or he'll disagree, and he'll let you have your 2 cents, and he may just he may give you a little butthurt if you deserve it, but that's just the way it rolls. And that's just like anything. It's anything else. I'm not going to tell you how to run your live stream. It's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to talk to all these folks that I've been able to talk to. And that's what I view it as an extreme privilege. And let me go off the rails. That's great.
But here's the thing. If I just pipe in all the time like I'm doing right now, then it's just, why would I even want other faces down there?
I don't know. I was just wondering when Mark's going to start.
Yeah, I know. I keep popping this up. I want him to take this.
Mark, you're over in England, right?
No, he's on another fucking. How many times I got to tell him, Mark, where are you at? He's actually the evil twin of someone that dwells on Earth, but he exists in what we will consider Planet X, in another dimension. He is here to wreak havoc on the real Mark Doppelganger.
Okay, so
his life a living hell till he can steal his very soul. Oh, sorry.
You tell Ed Wood I said hi then. But my point is, Mark is not in America with us, so with his time difference, I would probably want more out of him than either me or you, because
Actually, let me interrupt you for a second. I see Eric Kai just posted that CUNY makes Sharia law course. What do you mean, Eric? Care to expand on that?
Cabbage is down there. Come on in, Cabbage. Everybody thinks that we hate each other, dude. You got to come in, even if you just say, "Hey, fuck you, cunt." You got to come in, Cab.
That was such an Andy Kaufman bullshit stunt.
Oh, come on, man. No one knew nothing.
And it wasn't.
I didn't even know I was going to kick him out. I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't even know I was going to kick him out. And
it was great.
He bitched me out appropriately. He was like, "You fucker, you booted me." Because I get wrapped up, and I know it, but I just hit the button anyway. I shouldn't have. And he did, because I was thinking, look, we streamed so much that I wasn't thinking that it was, I think, Friday night. So Cabbage could have been on that all night long, and I've been on air twice where he was snoring.
Oh, that was such a massive troll for all that. I'd known what was going on.
I should have been recording that on
classic from you guys.
I wish. There's Cab. Yes, Cabby. What's up, brother?
Oh, hello, Cabbage.
Hey, Cabbage.
Hello, cunt.
We were playing. How you doing, brother? We were playing tag all day. We both tried to contact each other off air for about I'd say at least 3 times a piece. I've been plowing the earth, mate.
Oh, you got to turn your plow into your plowshares into a sword every now and then.
No, but hey, here's to the Queen and to a trick gone awry again. Love you.
Oh, God bless America.
Oh, you guys troll us so fucking hard. But you started doing the Andy Kaufman bullshit, I found out, but boy, you just went more derailed than anything that I ever heard.
That was great. Bye.
Yeah, well, what I got to do is I have to remember that if I'm at someone else's thing, I can mute people. Where I'm at right here, if I was to go to U0, which I would do if I was drunk or just to make a point, and me and Cabbage would laugh about it for 10 days. But if I was to kick you out right now, the bitch is you couldn't come back in this when it was off air. I have to say that, and I have to make an apology to Cabbage and thank you for coming back, because that was never in our plans. That was me just getting fucking dumb. Because, but anyway, we're not going to talk about
it. Late night, man. What time was it? It was all
even though it was late, and we had been streaming for 4 hours, and like it's up. I left it all up. But hey, look, even though this is Conspiracy Monday, we're not going to that conspiracy. No Christian mythoses, man. I don't really dig talking to my friends about it because people take a hard line. Cabbage is going to take a hard line on what he believes, and I respect what he believes. I'm going to take a whatever line I do, and mine is usually like I did. It's usually just well, I didn't say that and trying to throw curvies and stuff. And I'm sick of it. I was an apologist for a church for a long time, and I don't want to do that ever again. I just want to hey, if there's a God, won't he sort it out, Cabbage?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would hope so. Yeah. Maybe. Well, certainly if if he's meant to be all forgiving and all loving and all benevolent. So, yeah. Hey,
nice try, Cabbage. Nobody's taking the bait this time.
I'm looking at the fake news thing. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, nobody's taking the bait. We ain't gonna fight today. It's over. No. I was gonna send Cabbage a little side tweet. I'll just tell him right now. Thanks for coming on today. It's always look. There's certain people this show could do without, and I'm not going to mention them ever. But there are certain people that this show could do with, and they're all around me right now. Did you see that, Zero Cool? I just put your shit up right there. Look, it's right there. And I think I'm stealing that. I hope not. I'll see if Nachi Free will do one for that. And I got to say again, did you see that, Cabby? Did you see Nachi Free, the little art that he did for me? I can't call it fan art because I commissioned it. I actually paid the brother, man. He did a great job, in my opinion.
No, I haven't seen it, mate.
I'm gonna look it up right now. I'll present it. Talk amongst yourselves, mates. I was in the sun. It was 60 degrees today, Cabby, but I was plowing. I had my hat off. You can already see the Jew coming out. I'll go from white to tan so fast it'll blow your mind. And I used to say I don't burn, but then my aunts were there. Jennifer's aunts. Her dad's sisters. And I was like, I never burn. I was up on the roof all day, and they were like, you'll burn this year, you will. I'll be damned. Burnt like daggone. But other than that's why I don't want to brag about it. But usually I just get brown. I'll look that up. How was the weather where you're at, if you can even say?
Excuse me for a second. I just saw that Collie has just commented that Ogre's screen looks like a teenage girl's mirror.
It does. Hey, if the only thing I do is like superimpose it with like fashion models, and whatnot.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, the vanity where they had the pictures of the Elvis and the Playboys and all that shit.
That was me. Well, or like a young look. I knew a girl in it was 1991ish, and she just got her dad. She wanted a Nissan 300Z, and so that tells you about what year it was. I think it might have been 91. 92, and he got her a 240Z, which they were badass. I mean, if my dad would have been like, "Here's a 240Z," I'd have been like, "Hell yeah, Dad!" She had from the inside out, she had all the windows except for the absolute essential ones, and even the back one around the edges, just like cutouts of models, from Teen Vogue or whatever. I don't know. Her whole bedroom was anyway. And if you're gonna mock me, mock Razorfist, because look at his room, man. It's like. His whole room is a montage.
Actually, that's his studio. That's not actually in his house. That's actually his studio.
Well, then he's freaking badass. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I watched a few of his videos, and he went to a hotel once, and he says, "I'm not in my usual place here," and I could tell it wasn't his house. He only had one Daredevil poster up, but that stuff that he has all back there, that's just like all of his interests. So that's got to be part of his studio, and that's perfect setting for him. In fact, if anybody ever goes watch his Escape from LA review, he really goes hammy on that, and he runs into his Punisher stand and all. So he really loves to take care of his stuff.
Yeah. Well, somebody said all I need is some roach clips and with feathers hanging off of them. Man, whoever said that, I mean, look, that's like the 80s for Slammy Shore, man. I remember when the people would have the vans and they would have like a heart window on it, but it wasn't really a window, it was just a magnet.
Oh yeah, that was Anna. She hasn't been able to get back in yet, I guess.
Guys,
yeah, I see her drop off.
Guys, we just got awesome article from Eric. Thank you, Eric. Do you remember perhaps Linda Sarsour, the cockroach? So she's in the news again. Apparently, the City University of New York graduate school has selected her as a commencement speaker.
God,
Linda Sarsour, the proponent of Sharia law in United States.
Sharia law is never, ever reasonable. It's fucking insane.
Cunny's public health graduate school.
Well, Cabbage, why would it be a bad idea for this thing? I mean, isn't it cool to have her in that position, or why wouldn't it be? You probably know better than we do over there in Maryland, England.
I just found that so funny. It's called Cunny. Cunny over here means cunt.
Yeah, well, cunnilingus. That is cunt.
I believe it's Community University, New York of Staten Island. So it's basically
I got to show that
junior
again.
college. I went to a junior college, and we didn't pay. And what you do the only reason we have a junior college here in Iowa, in the EICC district, is to prepare you to go to big stuff, to get all your little tiny shit out of the way, and then go to the big schools, so that you didn't have to be there for 4 years and wasting more money.
Oh man, Cuddy.
That just tickled me. Sorry,
City University of Staten Island.
I would have overlooked the fact that it says Cunny's public health graduate. So she's a straight up con. It says so right there in Latin.
That's
no
it.
less.
Yes. So at least she doesn't have cystitis.
You can sit down right now. This is Jenny has her own disguise. She's the rabid ninja.
Yeah.
From Parts Unknown.
So that's
she
why
might come up tonight. I mean, people say they don't care.
See the ninja.
They don't care about anything, but the fact of the matter is, if someone comes on with 600,000 subscribers, maybe the wife wants to make her debut that day. I don't know. And like I said, I don't know. He could not show up, or this could be an elaborate prank, including the Britisher just made this up. You never know. The time might come and I might be like, I didn't even make it. Or Sargon might be here tonight. And the old lady might wear this ninja mask. It's kind of very cool. It's like a hijab almost. Now, I must say that I did not ask her to wear that.
Right.
I didn't ask her to wear it.
An apology for saying that. It's a ninja mask. Get it right, goddammit.
It's a
Any chances she got inspired by certain?
I gotta restart this. I'll be right back.
That we had on stream recently.
She's a ninja-style dancer. Is that what it is, ninja-style dancer?
Okay, we just lost boss.
Oh no, he said he was gonna drop out and come back in.
Yeah. And I wanted to present something because Linda is a very curious case. She's trying very hard to promote this Sharia law by any means necessary, spouting some silly stuff on Twitter. Ogru, could you please present link I'm posting again in the side chat? This one.
Yeah, it all disappeared because and hopefully I don't have a terrible echo. I just want y'all to hear the masked ninja. I didn't know what she was going to leave off just that little bit. She said it would be too garish. She'd probably get stoned for it because it's got like spanglies on it. This is the masked Avenger, the ninja from hell. She makes a mean loaf of bread. I'll guarantee you that.
I can attest to that as well. I've seen it. I haven't tasted it, but I've seen it. It looked damn good.
You might one day. All I gotta do is put it in the mail. If I send the bread out something, I should probably send you a loaf of bread or something. The stuff she made that you saw, I can't. In fact, Jenny, what did you feel?
Who knows what looks in the hearts of evil men? The shadow knows.
Yeah, the ramen wasn't as good, but I'm going to have to set the snowball up. In fact, I think I can do that right now. Give me a second, folks. I got a couple. I'll use y'all as guinea pigs. Talk amongst yourselves. Well, I know, but I want to set it.
Well, I'm just going to have to. I'm stepping away for 2 minutes. That's all.
I don't even think anybody
Remember.
heard my shadow joke. That's okay.
Hmm?
I said when she was on there, I said, "Who knows what lurks in the hearts of evil men? The shadow knows." I don't even think anybody heard of that because I accidentally muted my mic or something. Fucking best played lands of mice and men are just mice, according to Sir Douglas Adams.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the occasional squeak.
If you wanted that as a double entendre, you need to
Take his
expand
brains!
slightly.
The best part of that. Now I know a lot of people rip on that movie since we're just segueing to Killing Time, but if it wasn't for that movie, I would have never found the books because I didn't read them when I grew up. I read Doctor Who. I was watching Doctor Who, but it was like the funniest part in that whole thing. They get to the end of the movie, and Arthur Dent is sitting down there and he's drinking tea and all this shit. And he goes, "Well, do you want the answer to what's 7 times 6 and all this other shit?" And they're like, "Oh, I kind of like that." And they're like, "Well, yeah, if you like it, you can have them because it's got a billion questions." And they're like, "Nah, take his brain." So if they get squished, and I would have said, "You know what? Fuck the Vogons. I would have sat in there eating cake and shit if the mice made it. Fuck it." But but it's like I posted that one. It was like I posted the last time. Slutty Bartfast basically said, Douglas Adams wrote Slutty Bartfast to say, "No, what you're feeling is normal. Everybody in the universe has a tad bit of paranoia or something along the lines." I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Yes. Yes. No, that's the natural state of the universe.
Yep. And it is, but the problem becomes how far you let it take the sails of your boat and go with it. I guess I don't really have good euphemisms for it, but you guys get the idea.
Yep.
Yeah, whether or not it rules you or you rule it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest problems in America, especially, is it is ruling too many people.
Yeah. Well, I blame coffee.
You blame coffee?
Yeah, you're all tweaking too much on coffee. Have some tea. You'll be far more relaxed.
I'm actually drinking pre-workout because I'm going to the gym after this on my day off.
Let me ask you real quick. Who's Jim?
Who's Jim? Jim who?
Jim
go ahead.
The Jim.
Who's Jim?
I don't roll with that gay shit. I got your joke. I don't roll with that. I don't roll like that. Sorry, buddy.
And I heard the shadow knows, by the way. I was just busy.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Hey, where's your feather gone?
Oh, it should be right there.
Oh, it just folded round. Yeah.
I actually look. This is my sun hat. No joke. So I take the pins out, and if I've done it before, I'm not gonna do it right now because it takes a minute to put it back. So when I'm out tilling, if there's a lot of sun, Cav, I don't know if you see that, but look how much sun I just got in the last couple of days. You can see my hand in my head. I'm Jewish, man. I turn like brown as a berry, just like that. I'm a sand person, deep down in my heart. You can see the Irish too, though, right? That's like 1/8. That's how tough the Irish are. I got red hair out of the deal and blue eyes. Anyway. What was I doing? Oh, I'm trying to get this thing on.
I have no clue. You're trying to get that.
Well, I'm trying to get the microphone on back there. See that mic I just set up?
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna turn it a little bit more too. It's like right. That'll be better. See, that is better because I can leave. People like girls better than dudes anyway. If I was just out of it and you could see a girl in a need job, what would you call that? What is that?
I don't know. I can't see well enough.
A need job.
A nin job.
A ninja. That's better. That's good. Oh no. Okay. So back to
insult the Japanese, Chinese, and the Arabs all at once. Why not?
Let's see say something, babe.
You want me to say anything? Right. Sparkly ninja.
There you go. Sparkly ninja.
Y'all can hear it good back there?
It's a bit quiet, but otherwise.
You should probably point the mic more in her direction.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too loud.
No, you're not loud at all.
That's a lot better.
Say something.
No, hang on. I turned my mic off, and her mic is not working, even though the blue snowball's on here. I might be able to. I might have to turn if I wanted to. I might have to turn mine off and then hers off, so on and so forth. Say something now, John.
Lily almost dropped her ball. That would have been
no, this one's still on. That's so strange.
Yeah, I can hear both of you guys just fine.
Get the ball. Get it.
Just go for it.
You could hear that, what she just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she said earlier you dropped your phone, or she dropped your phone.
No, Lily dropped the ball.
Oh, Lily dropped the ball. See, so I'm going deaf. Must be from years of heavy metal.
That's it. Yep. Ruined your
Called
ear.
it.
So what I want to do is I'm going to unplug this mic and see if the sound changes for her, because I might have to just drop the tone of my voice and crank, because I can crank this mic up to where you could hear me go, you could hear my lip sounds. I just have to hang back from it. So say something now, babe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No difference though?
You sound more amplified.
I do?
No, Ogre does.
So maybe that was working well. Or maybe it was just, I don't know. I'm not even going to fool with this. I've tried it before. I'll get Butter to fix it someday.
Yeah.
I'll just have to, because my main goal tonight is to get Sargon talking anyway. That's my goal, is to just get him saying something about whatever. I mean, I'm sure it'll go social justice. I think the British and I planned is for the Brit, we'll have the opening question, because in all honesty, I kind of bombed the last few ones, man. Like we started talking about Michael Jackson with Razor Fist. Anyway.
That was funny, but
I'm not saying it wasn't good or anything. I'm just saying, for tonight, it was my idea. I mean, I'm sure Brit will say it. I was like, Britisher, man, come on.
You really got to get Sargon to see if he talks about if he can eat tacos and chimichangas. And if you really just want to go random, go talk about food. Food is good all the way around.
Food.
What is that?
Yeah, just food.
I'm just curious as to what that has to do with anything.
Absolutely nothing. It's just food.
I believe it's a ruse to get you to actually unclothe your face, because to be able to, you would need to remove your.
How does chimichangas and tacos have anything to do with her taking off her ninja job?
Yeah, good luck with that.
I think she would need to remove the ninja.
When she does that, I'll shave my beard and I won't be on YouTube anymore. I've never had a beard in my life. Well, I used to have like a long goatee, but Jenny, have I ever had a beard like this?
Not quite.
People have even asked me, well, you say her name Jenny. Well, Jen is the most popular name from 1972 on through to, I believe, 1986. So good luck with that one.
that tells the people a lot. Her name's Jen. Whoop-de-doo.
Not much. In fact, her brother's name, I won't say the two together because I guess that would be something, but her brother's name was also the most popular name from about the same time. It's just coincidence. Their initials line.
So it's probably Josh or Jason. Because I remember a lot of Jasons in the Iowas in the 80s. So I'm just guessing here. I'm not asking.
Josh, Jason, Jordan, Jeremy, Joshua.
I don't remember Jordans growing up as a kid unless they were Jordache jeans, but that was when you're too busy looking at your sister's friends' butts. But that was the 80s. What do you expect?
Is Amanda in the chat?
No. This is that's not Amanda. This is what the hell?
Anna.
That's Anna. I thought. What about? I thought it was Carrie for a second. Hello, Anna. She's still having some kind of mic issues. But hi. Yeah, and I'm here for just a minute longer. I'm telling you, I almost split like 14 minutes. I got this cranked way up now. Am I sounding distorted as hell? Yes. Distorted. MCJK, no icon. MC, what up, hacker?
I'm kind of trying to change my accounts around a little bit, so that's probably what happened.
I wish you would send me your icon in the side here so I can add it to my 16-year-old girl's mirror.
I'll DM it to you.
Thank you. Jen back here with her what'd you call it, Zero?
My ninja.
The ninja.
Ninja. Whoa.
Feel the freedom of the ninja.
Hello?
It's a good thing you don't get any monetization off of this, Ogre, because somebody could get bitchy enough and copyright you for my avatar because it's from the movie Hackers with Johnny Lee Miller and Angelina.
I mentioned that earlier, but we won't even. I'd send me something. I don't know. I'll make something.
I'm not changing my icon. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, I don't feel like they couldn't say much about that little bitty thing right there in my mind.
Young lady said hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hear you?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn. I'm technical. It's the CIA. They're fucking with me, just so you know.
No, we can hear you.
List.
This isn't cyberpunk, is it?
No, no, not.
Oh no,
What's
never mind.
fun?
It's a lady. Are you Australian, young lady?
No.
No, she's American.
Okay,
Sounds
never mind.
American. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's the beer in your hand. It's making you hear things. So you'll do exactly what Chris Hemsworth does in Ghostbusters. When you hear a loud noise, you cover your eyes with glasses that have no glass in them.
I have my computer is really loud. I just want to make sure that you guys can't hear you talking in the background.
That sounds perfect. And in fact, I'm wondering if I'm echoing because I'm going to do this tonight. I got my stuff cranked up. It should be like this, really, to my mind. But
No, you guys all sound leveled out to me on all fronts.
that's great.
Well, that's interesting because I have my computer on loud and I don't even see where the volume is, but I'm on my desktop, which is a lot better than trying with my
So
phone.
look, we were rambling, and somebody told me you were going to come on with a conspiracy theory, and the Ninjob is here, and she knows stuff too. So break out
Hi,
the.
Ninjob.
That needs to be her handle.
It probably will be.
Nice.
Ninjob. She is bad.
Ninja
packs.
style dancing.
Got less than the license
Yeah.
to pack. She probably. Anyway.
Well, no, the whole CGI stuff.
Guns here. Falcon Millennial's not here, so no one will whip out any guns.
Right. What's that young lady's trying to say something? What do you?
The whole CGI stuff that you guys were talking about before, I wondered if any of you guys had come across the whole Rudy Giuliani Twitter scenario where he had put out that note saying that he was in fear for his life and if something happened, and he was rattling off about some CGI stuff. Did you guys hear about that?
No, that's new to me.
Really? Okay, so
How do I find some links so we can present?
yeah,
our
I mean, I
audience?
actually have some of that on my Google page, but let me see. Yeah, the whole thing was he never Twittered, and there was a page that was created and then it was deleted and then another one was created. And so it was almost like which is the disinformation and which is the real information. But it was kind of creepy because right in December was whenever he kind of just fell off. Did anybody else notice that you've seen him in the media and so forth, and all of a sudden you don't see him anymore, right? He's like, nobody talks about Rudy Giuliani anymore. And he wrote this letter, and it looked like it was on proper letterhead and whatnot. And it said, if anything should happen, that there's some sort of, he went into conspiracy theory, CGI, and then that wouldn't be him, and about just clones. Okay, I have to find this and figure out how to share this.
You just find it and then present it. If you look over in the left, there's a bar and there's a little green thing with an arrow on it.
Okay, hold on one second.
Click that and I'll
Did this
present
just to get attention?
I mean, there was something, I think Roger Stone actually went and showed something about this too, but
Dun, dun, dun. I expect the Britisher to pop up every time somebody says Roger Stone. He's like, really? Roger Stone? He pulls so many stunts.
Oh, that is such his cue.
It is like dun dun dun. I'm sorry.
well, the whole thing was is that his Twitter was suspended right after this page went up with this letter on it. And then after it came back, but when it came back, you could almost see like how many people were on there. I mean, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out what looks like something has been, manufactured with fake views, because you can go back and look in the history. But people are good at this kind of shit, just to kind of like fuck everyone over in the mind,
Yes. Hegelian dialectic is one of the ways they do it. But I was out in the kitchen eating chutney. I have a little bit of chutney left, Cab, from the Berkshire made with his delicate hands. So good. I was eating it, and then they said it's a relish, and I know it is, but I ate it raw. So you're saying that?
Good.
What was that, Johnny?
It's good.
No, the chutney's good. But what were you saying? Well, we were talking about food. Somebody said talk about food. Zero did. But so the conspiracy is.
And he was writing about this Pizzagate and basically the pedophiles and almost like seemingly coming clean or something. It was just really fucking bizarre. And so do I copy and paste this link?
Yes.
Into the screen? Is that what I need to do?
You can do it on the side chat right in here, or you can do it out in the room, and I'd see it either way.
Okay, hold on. Let me do this.
Yeah, I did 3 on Pizzagate. In fact, my second most popular video was on Pizzagate. But that's all I had, man. I know it happened, probably. A lot of evidence points to it. People say there's no evidence, but there is. that would be like saying that evidence isn't someone. Oh, you got to share the other screen because I see it's like an infinite thing right there.
It's like, I know what the hell is that.
Look, when you click the green button to screen share, you have two options. You can share your entire screen, or you can choose application window, and then you can choose particular program to share. For example, your browser. Again, when you click on the green rectangle with arrow, you have white window. In the white window,
see. Application. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, learning curve, because I've never used this.
I've got two screens, so it's easy for me. I didn't even know about that, but it's good.
So I put the link in the
I can just do that. That's even way easier because I can just do this.
Yeah, in that chat.
Banned from Twitter following Pizzagate conspiracy theory is a hoax.
But if you scroll down and see that letter, that is way crazy. Because
official statement from Mayor Giuliani. You want to read that, or you want me to, or what?
I don't even have it up on my screen right now. But okay, I can read it. This was dated December the 20th, 2016. And he says, I write this morning from my New York apartment overlooking the city I love. I'm pondering my actions from the night before. I'm pondering my fate and what the Lord holds for it. For the first time in my life, I feel fully free, like a weight has been lifted off my heart. I have finally broken free. I know time is short. I will not waste words. You have seen my comments and the so-called Pizzagate scandal. I can tell you that this is completely true. This is common knowledge amongst those in power. The pedophile ring in Washington, D.C. is the biggest in the world, with London's probably coming in second. While I have never participated in these heinous acts, I know people who have, and I know of many who have escaped prosecution. Time is too short to explain why I have remained silent for so long, but I will say that I would have never become mayor of New York City if I did not play ball, as it were. I want the people reading this to know that they must never give up this fight. The media will keep lying. CNN will lie. Fox News will lie. NBC will lie. They will lie and lie and lie. They will call it the truth. They will call the truth a lie. They will call real news fake news, and they will call their lies the truth. Reject all of it. Reject every word. Do not believe a single thing they say. Fox News just called to cancel my latest scheduled appearance. If you see me on TV denying these tweets, do not believe what you see. The government and media apparatus has technology 20 years ahead of what is available to the public. Technology far, far beyond what the general public has any idea of. They can create a real-time CGI, human-like avatar. I have seen them, and they are indistinguishable from real life. They also have clones and biometric avatars. I will give you a hint, a little secret. In the new Star Wars film, they recreated a deceased actor with CGI. They did it somehow poorly on purpose. This has been standard procedure in Hollywood for many years now, and those orders came directly from the CIA. This is done to keep the public duped and fooled into thinking CGI technology has not progressed much since the late 90s, but it has in great measure, I can promise you. Be ready, prepare, be vigilant, question everything, question your authority figures, for they live to lie to you. They relish the public's gullibility. You must stand up to them. On one final note, a word about 9/11. To those who believe the official story, you have been duped. You have been conned. And if you want to look in the right direction, do not look at Saudi Arabia or bin Laden. That is a nice little distraction. And look carefully at the tower structures and ask questions about how they fell. This is one of the greatest cover-ups of all history. To quote Voltaire, if you want to know who rules over you, ask yourself who or what you are not allowed to criticize. Ponder this deeply, and you will find many answers. Pray for me, Rudy. Now, after that, his account was shut down.
You know this is real? You know this is from Rudolph Giuliani for absolute sure.
Do I know? Okay, so I cannot say that this letter was absolute for sure, but when you go back and you look at when the one, and you know, that archive IS provides you with what has already been deleted. You know, obviously that account has been deleted, but somebody had went into the archive IS and they took screenshots. So you can actually track his Twitter page that this was on, and that seemed pretty legitimate to me, but the one that's up now seems fake.
Wow. I mean, I don't know what to say, but if this is, I mean, what gets me, the Pizzagate's one thing. Everybody, not everybody, but people that care know that there's pedophiles in high places. Corey, the two Coreys, especially Feldman, who's still alive, and Haim has obviously died.
Right.
Would tell you all about this, man. They've been having it because I thought for years, because they can't say who it is, that it was Michael Jackson. But then Corey Feldman came out and said it wasn't Michael Jackson. He didn't want to, because I'm not going to look. I already said Michael Jackson. You know, I said it never would again. But I don't think he raped anybody. But do executives that are like in movies and records? Yes, they have for a long time. They might be satanic. Who knows why? But they do it. And so the fact that not the idea that Giuliani would say this isn't far-fetched to me.
Well, it is a little far. I mean, it does seem, I mean, it seems like, you know, you're going to have a TIA by looking at this. Like, it can't be real, but you know what? I mean, the fact.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that when you go back and look at the old Twitter page and you see how many people he was following and his followers, you can kind of get the feel that that's like an authentic account, because he always said he wasn't going to Twitter. Now you combine that information with the fact that he's now dropped off the face of the earth, seemingly. Nobody even talks about him anymore. You know, he's not the focus. And it's just too, and the fact that this didn't even make big waves. I mean, you can find it online, you can. And when you start digging into it, you kind of have to wonder, why wasn't this kind of like more in the talk, you know? Very curious to me.
Ogre, tangentially related, we got a link from AlphaGo. It's examples of actual real-time use of hologram during French election, or rather in French election campaign. No. I sent the link. This is just a joke for.
Oh well, as we looked at that thing earlier today, where they were showing that they can take with a cheap camera like the one I got. For this was $80 because I didn't get it with anything, just a camera. You could spend like 90 and it would come with a little stand that I already owned. It's sitting on. Anyway,
okay. If you could present me for a second, here should be.
This one right here. If it's French.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead. Because I'm already split, folks. I got 2 hours and I'm gonna chill back, and I just I want to be a good host. And
here should be example. Where is that example of Melchon, or however you pronounce it, using holograms to appear in several places at once during French election.
Well, you know what? They did that with Tupac a long time ago. They've done that before.
Yep.
Holograms from dead people. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, yeah, that's probably better now. So that's a hologram right now that we see?
Yep. As far as I understand, yeah.
That guy is a hologram?
Like, that's what he said. That was a hologram on stage there.
Well, I have a video that I did last week too, where I put some things in the description box that links you to the kind of CGI stuff where someone is moving their mouth and they're just superimposing the face on the other person, and it looks like President Bush speaking, and it's not. And they're basically speaking and saying whatever they want you to think President Bush is saying, and it looks absolutely real.
Yeah, we see that today with Trump, and they did it with a few people, and they can even do voice, so they can make it look.
Yes. Yeah.
We were talking about maybe they have possibly done that, Anna, with like Bin Laden, because you've seen many Bin Ladens. Maybe that was like a cheaper version where they couldn't get the face just right.
I actually don't know, and don't really think that they just hid him out. But I actually think if we see anything about Julian Assange up in the future, I feel that that's not even him. I feel like he's already dead.
Some people say it's already not him.
Yeah, that dead man switch went off in October. And it was just quickly brushed off, and nothing was really said about it. And he was a bright guy and everything, and I'm sure he had connections to having things set off. But then there's always brighter people, I suppose.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. Day is Dead has a new video out. You just see me do the Nachi free thing. I'm still presenting this on purpose. Day is Dead did a pretty neat video with her partner in crime. I guess I can say his screen name. I hope I can. His name is Grumpo. And he plays a part in this. He's pretty good. So in fact, it all came off very well, I think. I don't want to just give it all away here, but you can see that she's covering some an interesting thing that goes on. Social justice warriors are trying to perpetrate right now as we speak about genders and races and comic books and games and what have you. So there you go.
I think Jeff Holiday did a very good thing on that in regards to the comic books and why it backfired. So I'm going to put that in the main chat if people want to read up on that. I think he's done that quite well. He's very articulate.
Anna, if you have, because this will, people watch this stuff, believe it or not. The last one we did got like 300 views. But if you have a channel, I didn't get it. If you'll pop it up in the side, or if Dop somebody will, I'll put that up too. And
on my YouTube channel, okay.
Yeah. If you said you just did a video.
Yeah, let me grab that. I was actually looking through my Google page for that, for the archive of the Giuliani Twitter page.
Okay, and also, Zero Cool's popped this up. Rogue One's CGI Princess Leia stands out. He's backing up what someone was saying earlier today about, maybe they did it intentionally not that great to make it seem.
No, there are serious limitations to CGI, especially online live CGI. The biggest limitation would be a response. So if someone's on television and they're given a response to a live question, even the AIs that we have problems with trying to respond to human beings. That's not saying that it's not possible, and it's not saying that things can't change, especially when you look at something from a television standpoint or a television show where much of that is quote-unquote recorded for later use anyway.
MC, I've got some bad news for you. Namely, we've just got a video presentation from some scientists earlier on that basically showed Avatar. They used, I believe, George W. and Trump, I think, which followed exactly facial mimics.
Oh no, the facial things. I'm not saying that the facial things can't be fake. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
it was done in real time, so it was very convincing.
Well, you can where people were answering questions real time.
No, I think that whole thing was set up.
Difference. That's the Turing test, isn't it? It's the basic Turing test.
Yeah. It wasn't AI answering; it was a live person, but the image of a usual person was completely transmutated or completely changed into to look like a famous person.
Yeah. No, I just want to jump in. Final thoughts here about the whole mocapping, because when anybody makes, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I like it, and I hated it for a long time, but Rogue One won me back because of my respect of how they treated the character of Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia. The thing about the AI, you got to remember, this is Disney and Lucasfilm doing this movie, and these are two very heavy hitters. So when people say, oh, that doesn't look like Princess Leia, or that doesn't look like Grand Moff Tarkin, I said, okay, first and foremost, both of the actors were originally dead, and they were more than, they signed in their contracts willingly, and they were, because they love the franchise so much, to say, yes, use my likeness. And the voice sound exact, and the images of their faces had to be matched onto people who had similar bone structure. And my point is, this is motion caption work and CGI from two heavy hitters in the movie industry. And if people are going to call them out saying they don't look fake, or if they don't look real enough, then I'm not sure that what that kid was doing, mouthing Bush and making him do whatever he wants, he ain't a fucking professional. These guys are. And when they can make a minor blunder and people bitch about it because they're overreactive whiner asses, then apparently people who think they know what they know don't know what they know. And in my opinion, as a strict moviegoer, they did Rogue One right in regards to the respect to Peter Cushing and Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, but the Cushing one didn't look too good. I mean, it didn't look good. I mean, like you said, they got some rendering there, but
it's an age difference of
blatant.
Yeah, you got to remember, bro. You've got to remember there's age differences here, and Peter Cushing has been dead for a while. Carrie Fisher, unfortunately, has been gone for almost 2 years now, maybe a year. And they're doing what they can, but they were showing respect and homage to the characters to progress the story. And my point is, these are two big power companies, Disney and Lucasfilm. And if you're calling that their stuff doesn't look good, they didn't do it on purpose. They did the best they could, and CGI and mocap only goes so far. So this whole thing, I have no comment on the Giuliani issue. I'm simply saying if Giuliani wrote that, he apparently knows jack shit with the side of fuck all about movie making. That's all I'm saying. That's just my two piece. That's my two pieces on that. I wouldn't be surprised if he disappeared. I mean, we've had this issue with presidents and political figures doing this since the days of George Washington. That is a granted. But this whole thing, you missed the boat on this when we were talking about this way earlier. Is this technology is going to be misused, and it's going to cause the alphabet agencies to have more power than necessary because people will use it to infiltrate bank accounts and use it for the very lowbrow and yet very over. People will do this no matter what of stealing identities. That's what they're going to use it for. And for them, these little hotshot smartasses showing off what they can do, it's, to quote Jeff Goldblum, it's not whether one can do it, it's whether we should do it.
I like Jeff Goldblum. I mean, I'm listening. I am going to cut off here pretty quick. We got any final thoughts or words? I will say that I went and checked out Anna's thing here, the Julian Assange Proof of Life. I mean, I'm just kind of glancing at it as we talk. I got the sound off, but check out her stuff. And
thanks.
Been being said all over right now, amongst us small fries, amongst the large whales, everybody in between, from Vernaculus to Sargon and whoever else. They're trying to stop this free flow of ideas. And I don't care if you come to YouTube to find out how to put makeup on, or I've come to YouTube for all kinds of things. Never been makeup for me, or this is ninja. But it's I come for all kinds of reasons. So you've seen me learn all kinds of stuff on here, though. We come on here to find out how to cook stuff, you name it. But the idea that they want to stop any of it is making me, this Sunday I needed to play y'all that song for those of y'all that watched it. I know Zero Cool did. He made a comment. I needed to do that. I did the drums, the guitar, and I needed to have that outlet. And it's kind of cool that I can do that without leaving the house. And many people use it for many reasons. But if they stop this up, it's going to be rough. I hope that we can all support each other in our little community, and that if they try to do a full-on, what are we going to call it, Cabbage? Like a full-on Count Dankula to the lot of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think, number one, the killer market base, and there are other things popping up. I mean, so you don't know with these people. You don't know what their end goal is, do you? That's the problem. If we knew what the end goal was, we'd see what was coming. But that's why they keep it all very private.
Yep,
it's all about money. That's all they want. Yeah. They want control, power, and money. And like I said, you can only push people so far, and you can never truly have all that. Just like I've told people, realistically, for as much as you want equality, it will never happen. It will never exist, because the way we understand things, equality will equal slavery.
Oh man, yeah. Well, there's no such thing as equality of outcome. Equality of opportunity is wonderful, but if I was to go against Mrs. Nijab in sciences. Because what did you get in anatomy and physiology? What was your score? What grade? Wasn't it an A? She got a 4.0 in anatomy and physiology. Out in one of our storage places, we have a stack. I'm not going to exaggerate. She's sitting right here. It would probably go to the ceiling, and this is I think where I'm sitting, at least a 10, 12-foot ceiling. So of flashcards. And I used to watch her. She is learning Tagalog right now. I'm not exaggerating that either. And but hell, I forgot the point. I'm just very proud of Mrs. Nijab. Oh, I wouldn't go against her in sciences because equality of outcome would be assured. And if I was, would Mrs. Najab want to go against me in an arm wrestling match, or even a psychology debate? No, she knows me. Or how about a religious debate? No, she's seen.
I think she'd take you on the arm wrestling.
You know what she could? I'll tell you what she could. I'll tell you what she could take me on right now if she got out her videos of the and up and down one more time, ladies, and that means like 50 more times, and 5 more minutes, girls, that means an hour. And then it's if she was to break them out, and I was to try to be right behind her doing exactly what she was doing, and the step and move and fucking shuffle your fat ass in 3, and my life would be flashing before my eyes in 15 minutes. I'd be gasping for breath and be like, and she can, what I'm trying to say is if we were to both put our bug out bags on right now and take off, she'd have to wait for me. Unless she just wanted to be like, fuck you, I'm not getting taken out. Keep up if you can, dude. I don't know. But she would need me to kill and skin the animals, I think. But she wouldn't probably want to do that. But so hopefully I'd be valuable. But that said, no, I think I'd beat her in arm wrestling or any kind of test of outright bursts of strength. The tests of endurance, Ninjab's got me on those for sure.
Perhaps you should create a mixed mode of arm wrestling where you arm wrestle time and time again and see at what point actually Mrs.'s endurance takes over.
No, I say this though, if we were marched for 5 days and then I had to arm wrestle her, she'd beat me. That's what it would take though. It wouldn't be by arm wrestling because I would just hurt her. I'd start, like if my life depended on it, because surely I would take my life over hers. No, but if my life depended on it hypothetically and it wouldn't be her life instead, I would just start slamming her or let her work herself to death while I was like, and then slam her to, wear out the muscles. And I don't think there would be a way to, I don't think there'd be a way for her to overcome me that way. But like I said, if Doppelganger was behind us with an
the difference amount of muscle mass makes a major difference when you're talking strength anyway.
Right.
It has nothing to do with endurance or short muscle or long muscle. It's the amount of muscle in that case.
Yeah, well, I don't have that much muscle, so.
Well, you're welcome to the difference between men and women.
She actually has a lot of muscle.
There is no difference.
Trying to get her to flex,
attention.
Yeah, muscle is a social construct. Didn't you know?
Is that what it is? Oh.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that.
You've been socially repressed, Ninja Hob.
He knows you, savage. You ain't gonna.
I'm just staring.
They're roping us in, dude. They're roping us in, John. It's like I'll go for 5 more minutes, but 20 after I'm saying my tagline, I'm hauling ass. That means I got 1 hour and 40 minutes. I already took a shower, but I'm going to take like a 30-minute nap because, Mrs. Najab and I, Mrs. Ogre and I, we've driven truck, moved furniture, and we've worked a lot of hard jobs. We've weeded the garden together.
Moving your chair from the dinner table doesn't count, Ogre.
And what we've learned is that if you've got to do something hard, get a little rest, get a nap. Like before we go on a long haul, we might take a half-hour nap just to get the first burst of, I feel great. The world is my oyster. But you know what I would do? She's here. So, because people call me a liar. I had a guy from IU. Remember the kicker? Excuse me. The kicker, I got a stool there. The kicker okay. Well, also the right tackle from IU was there to help us move furniture this day. How big was he, Jenny?
He was big. I don't remember. I don't know his weight.
240, I'd say.
He was
250.
Big, muscle bound.
6'3", at least, maybe 6'5". I mean, he was so big. I went up to him, and I mean, because I'm a moron sometimes, because I've got a big chest, but I went up to him and I was like, holy shit. I just wanted to feel that, because he was like a big. So make a long story short, Mrs. Najab would pack what's called dish barrels. And it would be if anybody's ever moved, like MC, he's been in the military, so he knows what a dish barrel is. The people come, they pack your dishes in it.
Yep.
A good dish barrel packed will weigh how much? Oh, at least. In fact, when Mrs. Najab would pack them, and they'd be all the china, the plates and stuff in them, probably closer to 180. And to get down and this guy couldn't do it. He could get a dresser, or he took a refrigerator and just grabbed it, was like, and just walking with like Frankenstein's monster. But finally, I got Mrs. Najab, and this is what I used to do to people. This is a long way around to say this. I would be like, Mrs. Ogre. And then she knew what that meant. She'd come up there. And now, mind you, we were in our 20s at this point, both of us.
Yes.
And
very young.
Very young. We were both cock strong. And so I'd say, get that end. And usually it would be the end of a 4-drawer dresser packed full of clothes. Because if you're moving furniture, it's going to be padded. You don't want to, everything's got to be packed. You don't take the clothes out like you would if you were somebody just moving across town, don't know what they're doing. You keep it packed. And once someone, I don't care who it was, except for this big dude, once somebody seen Mrs. Najab grab the other side, I'd usually make her walk backwards. And there's times where I know this little human being had at least 175 pounds up right here. And not just picking it up, deadlift, picking it up and then walking backwards to wherever the truck was. And boy, that would crack people into shape. Talk about conspiracy theories. There were no shield maidens. As tough as this human being is, and we were in a battle once where she beat a guy with a lead pipe that was on my back. I had him in a wrist lock. I broke his arm, and she broke his ribs. Because all she seen was a person on my back while I had him underneath. He was trying to flail and stuff, but I was actually breaking his arm. He was in a bad shape. So, and plus because she saw that, I could hear him pooping. Am I joking? She was hitting him, and he was going. It's like I'm sorry. No, it's the end of the conspiracy theory because we might have made that up. Look, I'm leaving now, folks. It's been so much fun talking about all this insanity. And but remember, even though Mrs. Najab did that, shield maidens are a joke because I think that if I could have taken like 1 or 2 of those, if somebody hadn't had me trapped like I had that dude trapped to just take the blows on the back, it might have been bad. Might have ended up like moldy locks. That was my whole point. Because look what happened with her. She probably is kind of tough for a girl. But don't buy into this. Egalitarianism is good, but it's only good if it comes down to Mrs. Najab and I not arm wrestling. If we can make it an intellectual battle, well, I'll have some times where I can win, and she'll have, and honestly, in that way, she'll have more times where she can win. But if it's like an all-out physical strength thing, I'm probably gonna beat my beloved other more often than not. We don't do trials like that between us. No,
we don't. That's dumb.
What we do is we support each other and we work hard up here in the little Ogreville and can and cook and try to live healthily. I'm gonna go out and eat some meat right now. I got some meat marinating to smoke in my smoker and then sell to the public at large. But I'm going to take some of it that's been marinating and eat it. That said, listen, remember, people are different. Men and women are different. We're a dimorphic species. It's been wonderful to have Zero cool on. In fact, because I was just about ready to say my thing, Zero, is there something else you want to say since I just rambled for like 20 minutes?
No, it's been a pleasure to be here as usual and great to talk with everybody.
Well, I really appreciate it. And also Doppelganger and Cabbage Patch Bastard. Some people may not always get our topics or our jokes or our fun, but here's the thing to me. I look at this as a little smoking room, and we even allow the ladies in our little boys club. And as long as that's the case, I think it'll be a great thing and lots of fun. So remember, folks, be good to your friends. Be good to your family members. Be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so huge you'll never be able to forget about it. Because constant viewers, Sargon of Akkad, Britisher, all my friends, at a time you think not, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life and your cause will depart from you. Sydney, I'll be looking out for you tonight. I'm too tired to do the fucking crazy shit. See you then, brother.